It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, May the 15th, the Ides of May. Doesn't have quite the same ring as the Ides of March, but, there's some Ides getting thrown around right now. Watch your back. I'll get to that in a second. But first, coming out of Comfortably Numb, not a bad guitar solo that David Gilmour was just ripping off right there. He's just letting some sparks fly. David Gilmour has announced for the first time in 8 years a U.S. tour.
How about
this
that?
fall? So if you want to see some great guitar playing from David Gilmour, man, just wait. So the date, hang on, I'm looking at the dates.
All right.
Looking for the XL or Target Center. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's only playing L.A. and New York.
Oh.
Hollywood Bowl 2 nights, Madison Square Garden 2 nights. That's a U.S. tour, I guess, for David Gilmour.
I would go see him if he was back together with Roger Waters. Until then, I'm not. Well, I've got YouTube.
You're just, right. I get it.
I mean,
you want to see the whole thing. You want to see, give you the whole sandwich,
Well,
or you're not interested in the coleslaw.
Well, yeah, at this point in the game, I've seen Pink Floyd a bunch. I've seen Roger Waters a bunch. I've not seen Roger Waters back in Pink Floyd. So that would be my interest.
Okay, fair enough. Just to go ahead and knock your interest back even more, he says, not going to do any stuff from the 70s on these dates. Gonna play my new stuff and then go back to the 60s more. And then of course the 80s. You got Momentary Lapse of Reason, Division Bell from 80s and 90s. Yeah, hey bud, let me remind you about the 70s Pink Floyd. Yeah. That's kind of where everybody jumped on.
That's your thing.
That's kind of special.
Yeah.
That's kind of special. Gilmour is anybody's short list, I think. Great guitarist of all time. Certainly his influence is huge. But whatever your list is, if you say top 10, top 12, 20 great guitarists, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
But some answers are more right than others. I mean, he's certainly one of those guys. And it's funny because my brain has been pretty much my whole life divided into there's two sections. There's sports and music. That's it. It's just that's the two things I think about. Those are the two things that light up all the dopamine centers. Sports and music. And the reason music wins at the end of the day is because everyone's right. Your opinion is right. There's no basically, you know what there is? There's no scoreboard.
I think I know where this is headed.
There's not a scoreboard. Yeah. Therefore, when the scoreboard breaks your heart, retreat into music, and then you're right again. Look, I the one thing I can say after the first two games of the Western Conference semifinals is everybody talking about the Nuggets are going to get swept. I said, now hold on. I think Minnesota's in a great position, but I don't know about a sweep. You don't want to piss off a championship caliber team like the Nuggets. Okay, well, after last night, I'm still saying this senior series is going 7. I think Minnesota comes home in Game 6 and acquits themselves a little bit better. But yesterday, if nothing else, and we don't have to harp on this very long, I did say it, didn't I? I did. I was feeling pretty cocky, wasn't I? I'm trying to talk. See, I'm trying to spin that I wasn't high as a kite on this Timberwolves team, and I still think they're a great team as far as youth and looking ahead down the road. But right now, boy, I watched Nikola Jokic last night remind the world that, he's the best player in the world. He's been that way for 3 years. Rudy Gobert is the best defensive player in the league. There's no question about it.
No.
And he just got turned inside out repeatedly in the third quarter. It was like watching a punt, pass, and kick competition when there's one like an 18-year-old out there with a bunch of 12-year-olds. That's what Jokic was doing to Gobert last night. And I don't fault Gobert. He's as good a defensive player as there is, but it just goes to show some people can't be stopped.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Timberwolves is the Minnesota in front of their name. I mean, this is preordained. We knew this was going to happen. Set us up to knock us down kind of thing. I don't even know why I even bothered getting interested. That won't happen again.
God. Let me help you, Brian. Let me help. Come on. Hope springs eternal.
Big tease.
What am I? 16 months in, and I'm still convinced that I can turn around the fortunes of all Minnesota sports teams.
Yeah, I'm going to stick around this radio station long enough just to see your heart torn in half, and then my job here will be done. I can move along.
It's happening. Come on, Wolves. You got a home game to keep your season alive, to keep the series alive. And the good news, I don't know. We were in a game. We didn't have Mike Conley, Carl Anthony. I'm running, man. The wind in my sails is a little still right now.
Towns is hurt too, didn't he? Get an owie of some sort.
Yeah, he did, and Anthony Edwards had his bust game of the series, but that means he won't have another. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what's
they come back
The
home.
Vikings schedule's coming out today, right? Speaking of guaranteed success and victory, let's talk about the Vikings. Let's get on with that.
I mean, that's just it. You kind of, and then at the end of the Viking season, we're going, well, the Twins are right around the corner. The Wild are making a little bit of a run. Look at the Timberwolves. Isn't that the first time they lost back-to-back games this entire season?
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a hard one.
Well,
it's been a hard one to swallow.
This could be the great comeback here against the champs, but not looking like it. But after game 2, it was like this series is in the bag. Now it's not in the bag. Yeah. Maybe it'll go back into the bag. Why am I talking about bags?
Vikings. Right around the corner. Yeah. Bagman, St. Paul, June 15th. Let's go, people. There we go. All right. All right. That's you know what? I just feel an obligation to get it off my chest. It's like I have to cleanse the palate of Timberwolves talk, and now we can move on to other KQ Morning Show approved and endorsed and licensed nonsense. That's what we're here to do.
And a whole lot of it this morning.
Yeah. I mean, can we please help me help you to help me, Tony? Get me off the Timberwolves. I stayed up late for that crap, too. That's what pisses me off. I did not go all the way through. At the end of the third quarter, after I watched Jokic, he was like a carnival barker doing tricks and stuff. I was like, okay, you know what? I've had enough. I mean, all I was...
Did he throw a bucket of water on someone sitting on the bench right there?
Yeah, it turned out to be feathers. It was the whole thing. And then the only thing he didn't do was he was complaining to the ref and he threw his hand out and flowers appeared. That was what I was waiting for. I was just waiting for that last little trick.
I will say about this series, as far as these games running a little later into an early morning person schedule, they haven't been close. Have they had a close one yet? I mean, these games have been over third quarter.
Well, that's credit to the Timberwolves. They're helping us out. These are good people. I believe.
Yeah.
All right, I believe it's time to get on with it. Let's move into something sunnier climes. Let's talk about parenting. That's never a headache. We're coming up with some of that. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Steve Miller, of course, Fly Like an Eagle, the title track to his biggest album, the big follow-up to The Joker, 3 years in the making. Steve Miller put out Fly Like an Eagle and Jungle Book back to back, and all of the songs on both albums he wrote in a 2-week period.
Man,
he just went to out to a cabin with the guys in the band, and they just had this writing jag, and then he got 2 full albums out of just one big hardcore session. And you think, oh my God, that's amazing. How did he come up with all those ideas? Well, it helps when you rip yourself off, because Fly Like an Eagle, the song we just heard, tip of the cap to Gary Malaber, who's an awesome drummer on that album. Every track is great. Fly Like an Eagle sounds a whole lot like another song Steve Miller wrote in 1969 called My Dark Hour. In fact, it's the exact same riff. He ripped himself off.
I love on the comment section here, I've got Steve Miller, My Dark Hour from YouTube. It's all on there. Yeah. I love in the comment section. Boy, that guy that did Fly Like an Eagle owes Steve Miller some royalties.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
At Jerry Weiss 9511. I hope you were being tongue in cheek there, buddy. But that's you know what? I could irritate a lot of people banging on the drums. I had a heavy bag back in my stronger, just more active years. I just go down and beat on that heavy bag.
I have one right now. It's the best.
Oh yeah, isn't it? Just
love it. Yeah.
Thump the crap out of it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Never done it. Never ever done any sort of boxing or jiu-jitsu. No martial arts, no boxing, none of that. No me just throwing punches is something I probably could use.
Oh, yeah. I took a karate. I told you guys. Did you guys ever see my karate moves?
No.
No, I don't have any, but I can count to 10 in Japanese.
Oh, well, I get...
Sanshi, Gogoro, Chichiache, Kuju. That's what I got out of karate.
That's very nice.
I can count to 4 in a lot of languages.
Remember James Brown said, I don't know karate, but I know kareze.
Kareze. One more quick Beatles sit-in that you didn't know about, and then we'll move on. George Harrison plays the guitar solo on a song called Leave a Light On, a 1989 top 20 hit by Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Go's.
Oh.
George Harrison, he just liked her voice, and that word got back to her and her producer, and they're like, would you want to? He's like, yeah, I'll come by and play a solo, and he did. Belinda Carlisle getting Harrison into a studio. Who knew? Who could have possibly known? And speaking of the Beatles, royalty throughout the entire world. Prince. Listen to me. King Charles. Not the Spaniel, but the actual King of England now, King Charles. His official portrait was released. Did you hear about this?
I saw it.
His official portrait, the first one since his coronation last year. A gentleman, a painter, did 4 sittings with King Charles.
Yeah.
It's a guy named Jonathan Yao. It's against a background of vivid red hues. He's wearing the uniform of the Welsh Guards military unit. There's a butterfly just above his shoulder. Whatever these words make you think of, it doesn't really come across that way because apparently most of the comments are he looks ghoulish, villainous, and satanic.
I wonder if maybe he could have mixed in a different color. I see a lot of different shades of red.
It is it's so much
a nice
red.
Blue, a nice, a little more green, perhaps.
It's red with red with red. His face is just peeking out of an evil drop of red. Is what it looks like.
He doesn't give off a warm vibe ever.
No, no, not really.
No, just sitting in that on deck circle for 70-something years, looking at his mom.
See, they made his ears a little smaller.
Man, like, come on, seriously. I mean, I love you, but can you maybe just retire? Maybe just step back.
Was a sale on the red paint, or they spilled the can of blue, or what happened here?
It's pretty shocking. It's pretty alarming. There's no question about it. And you know, with the royal family, I just look at all the time. You think about that when Charles and Diana, which for those of us who do remember the 80s, when that first baby was born, William, it's like, oh my God, you know, like the whole thing. It's like the old, you think of this as being something from centuries ago.
Yeah.
You have to have 2 boys, the heir and the spare.
Yeah.
You got to have the heir, and then you have a backup in case something goes wrong with the heir. The heir, so William was the heir, Harry was the spare, but you know, Harry, you didn't have to really live your life as this. You didn't have to embrace it so fully and leave the royal family. I'm not a spare tire anymore. I want to be driving side front of the car.
When would you want to be the second born, the spare, when you're in a royal family, or just go be a playboy?
It's the cat. You're in the catbird scene.
Yes.
My God.
Boy, he screwed that up.
To not understand the brilliance of being number 2, and of all families, that family especially. Yeah. You just, because you show up you know who never isn't given a seat at a restaurant? The second kid.
Yeah.
You know, the first kid you have to plan ahead because everyone's going to freak out. Oh my God, William's going to. You're Harry. You just walk up and go, hello. And they're like, do you want to sit at the bar? Do you want to sit at the window? Do you want to sit?
Let's call some girls for you, Harry.
Whatever you want to do. The second kid, you got it easy, man. All that and by the way, you don't have to be royalty to do this. We as parents, we ruin our first kid. The second kid's so much cooler. It's my kids are a perfect example. My son is doing great. He's 23 years old. I love him to death. He's just got the oldest anxiety, I call it. And it's not his fault. It's because me and his mom, for the first 2 years of his life, just were aware of everything.
Laser focused on him.
Laser focused. The second our daughter was born, it was like, that's fine. Just whatever. Just put some dirt on it. Rub it off.
I kept a journal for Taylor. Brian Zepp, wrote with a pen in a journal every day, every little thing that she did. We still have it. It's a beautiful gray journal with a little leather on it. It's very nice.
All it says is pooped.
I did. There was one entry in there that Taylor loves to read back to me. I saw poop come out of your butt today. I put her down in like a little Play-Doh machine. I was changing the diaper, and in the midst of the changing, it was like a Play-Doh poop.
The Fun Factory.
Tootsie Roll just came right out. I was like, hey, Stace, come here. You got to check this out. But Sydney, you know what she got? She got the journal, and the first entry was, you were born today. And that was the last entry.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
first and last.
Yeah, I think we don't even know where the journal is. I'm pretty sure Sydney threw it away out of spite. Taylor, I used to sit and watch the Disney movies with her, and I would pause it and say, what happened to the puppy? Sydney, I would just put it on play, and then it would rewind itself and start playing again and take a nap.
Man, we had these baby Mozart. People were like, oh, these are great. It helps their brains, little brains develop. And Connell loved watching them. And then I read one thing, and it was like, they really don't do anything. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I'm so sick of hearing that little baby Mozart music. And, okay, fine. I guess I'll just sit down and do flashcards with them, whatever it takes.
We started out that way and then moved into Beatles and the Blues Brothers.
Pretty quickly.
But at first, I constantly following him around with nothing but open hands, ready to catch him from whatever happened.
Always.
Yeah. What about the middle of the night? Because we breastfed, so somebody had to get up and, I would go get the baby and be part of it. And by the second one, I was like, Sydney's up. Yeah, Sydney's up. Yeah, well, Sid's up. Well, yeah, I think it's your turn. No, it's your turn. No, with Taylor, we're both leaping out of bed and dashing for the crib.
We can go long. We can go deep into the night talking about the difference from the first kid to the second in our garden. I think we probably should. So be thinking about that out there. If you want to share a thought with us on the KQ Talker text line, 651-989-ROCK. There's the first kid, and then there's all the rest. And boy, have we got a lot of things we did differently. But before we dive too deeply into that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and right now it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Steve and Zep and Tony. Hope everybody's having a great hump day. This report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Did you go to a movie yesterday? Huh? Tuesday? $6 for any movie, any Marcus Theaters? Well, you can do it next Tuesday, and of course, Friday we'll be giving you reviews of new movies, all coming to Marcus Theaters. Little divorce and beauty nuggets. I've always said that Tiger Woods' ex, Elin, is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. I think you'd agree, Steve. And not far behind was golfer Rory McIlroy's wife, Erica. But Rory has filed for divorce from Erica, and I understand Erica planned to file next week. He just beat her to it. Don't know the details, but I hear it could be ugly. They were married 7 years, one child. Big news, George Clooney will make his Broadway debut as the former TV news icon Edward R. Murrow in the play Good Night and Good Luck, which was Murrow's sign-off after every newscast in the 1950s. Murrow was the only newsman that challenged Senator McCarthy's witch hunt back in the 50s, calling almost every famous person in Hollywood a communist. And I want to strongly recommend everybody out there listening, listen, you should try to see the 2005 movie of the same title, Good Night and Good Luck, in which George Clooney not only appeared in the movie, but was also nominated for 2 Oscars, one for writing the screenplay and also directing. The movie starred David Strathairn as Edward R. Murrow, Robert Downey Jr., Jeff Daniels, Patricia Clarkson, Franklin Jella, and others. The movie Good Night and Good Luck is streaming on Prime. TV news. So the TV networks are announcing all the shows that have gotten green lights for next season, and a lot of reality and game shows. That's because they're cheap to make. I mean, including Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire, Claim to Fame, Celebrity Family Feud, Celebrity Jeopardy, The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, Amazing Race, Survivor, American Idol. Oh, yeah. Also, the worst reality show ever, America's Funniest Videos. I mean, how many times do you want to see a guy slip on ice? Or a little kid hit a ball back at his dad that hits the dad in the crotch? Oh, I can't stand that show. Oh, and Gypsy Rose Blanchard released a 12-minute press video on Saturday, the day before Mother's Day, that very few outlets used. Gypsy went on and on, saying how she remembered her mother with mixed thoughts, but she still loved her, and that all in all, her mother was a good person, but she had that mental issue. Gypsy doesn't talk about how she killed her. She had her mom killed. Was right there. Didn't mention that part. Hey, have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow. Mike Evans. See ya.
One thing I'll say about America's Funniest Home Videos, with little kids, you can do a lot worse.
I never get tired of seeing a dad get hit in the crotch.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's evergreen.
That show used to terrorize me and haunt me for one specific reason.
What's that?
Because I have this berserk memory where you give a date and I pretty much always know where I was on because I can frame, if you just throw out a random date from the 80s or the 90s, or not so much after the kids were born, because thank God they were born and then I stopped paying attention to everything else. But I'll just remember where I was really, really close. I'm within a day or two, within a city or two, touring a lot.
Yeah.
And when we would watch America's Funniest Home Videos, so many of the videos are from home camcorders. And what do they have in the bottom corner? The date. And the date stamp. And I'm watching like this funniest thing, and I'll be like, And, I'll look at it and I'll go, oh, St. Patrick's Day 95. Oh, yeah, I was in New York. I remember that because I can't help it. I don't even know I'm doing it. I'm just, and I'll miss the funny part of the video because I'm going, oh my God, I was in Poughkeepsie that day. I remember the whole, and then of course, Rosemary would look at me and she'd be like, stop doing it. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm sorry. It drives me crazy.
You're a Rain Man. You're some sort of savant. Have you ever tried to monetize that?
No. Yeah.
With quiz shows or something that you didn't cheat on. We know you cheated on Jeopardy and punked your brother for a summer.
I did. No, I never have really made an effort to because I read something once about that kind of memory and paying attention to such details. Usually what happens when you're feeling fairly traumatized, you just pull yourself out of the situation and observe from, and I was like, oh yeah, that's probably what was going on. I just wish I was somewhere else. So I remembered all the details so I didn't have to feel the burning rage that was coming out of me at all times.
How awkward.
Hey, isn't that fun? Yeah. Hey, well, you know what? When you grow up in a house that's on fire, you just look for other burning buildings the rest of your life. And then one day you go, I'm going to stop doing that now. I think I'm going to actually kind of have a better time and stuff.
You had no hope. You're the 8th child born. I can't even comprehend that. In a family of 3, that felt big to me. 8 is just unfathomable.
I just say, you grow up waiting in line.
Yeah,
that's it. That's like, no matter what it was, you pick your moments. Like when anytime I woke up in the morning and walked down and there was no one else in the kitchen, I would just open the refrigerator and have a minute to like really think about what I might want. Like, I'm gonna get that milk, and then oh my God, there's still cereal left, and no one's gonna take it from me. Those were good days. Let's look back. May 15th, 1912. Ty Cobb, a man who, when he retired from baseball, had more hits, more runs, more stolen bases, and a higher batting average than anyone else in history. I mean, so, pretty great ball player.
Oh, yeah.
Still and just a surly old cuss, just a jerk. None of his teammates were ever like, great guy. He was just a knucklehead.
Yeah.
On this day in 1912, he was in a ball game. He's on the field, and he starts to get heckled by a fan in the stands, a guy named Claude Luker. Claude had lost one hand and 3 fingers on another in an industrial accident, and he decided one day, I'm just going to start making fun of Ty Cobb from the stands. Cobb had enough, jumped into the stands, and literally beat the guy to a pulp.
Oh, yeah,
had to be pulled off of him by several other teammates. Horrified spectators were screaming, he doesn't have hands, and Ty Cobb, according to all witnesses, yelled back, I don't care if he doesn't have feet, as he was beating the man down.
Well, he has a mouth, doesn't he? And he shouldn't be opening it. Ty Cobb, by the way, I mean, you talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. I didn't know until my brother did a speech on Ty Cobb that his mom blew his dad away.
Had no idea. First I've heard of it.
His dad apparently was just such a son of a bitch. She picked up a pistol one day and blew him away.
You know who else's mom did that?
Who?
Actress, South African, tall, gorgeous, in the Mad Max movie.
Oh, Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
Her mom,
really?
Her mom offed her dad. Yeah,
right. She witnessed it too.
Abusive guy. Yeah,
she seems agreeable. I've not met her.
She's been through the ringer. On this day in 1991, speaking of baseball, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip went to see a Baltimore Orioles game with President Bush. Now, if memory serves, a tiger ran on the field.
What?
Oh wait, no, that's the Naked Gun. I'm sorry. I'm getting reality and movies Leslie Nielsen sang the national anthem, umpired the game, and a tiger attacked a second baseman.
I love that.
I believe that all happened. No, that didn't happen, but she did enjoy crab cakes and smoked turkey as opposed to a hot dog and a beer like a normal person should.
Right.
Her Majesty. She got a little brief. They gave her a brief course on the rules of baseball ahead of time. Why? Why? She doesn't care. She's just imagining corgis running around in a field watching this game.
I'm wondering why they don't bounce the ball into home plate.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Wednesday, May the 15th. AC/DC Thunderstruck. Let's see, 33 years and counting. That song works always for me.
Always.
Just puts me in a good mood. Go. What?
I was just thinking, we're sitting here literally banging our heads. I'm walking down the hallway going, Thunderstruck. Yeah, I mean, you could play it. You could just loop it for 24 hours. I don't think I'd get sick of it.
My favorite thing ever, I saw an interview and someone said to Brian Johnson, they go, what's Thunderstruck about? And he goes, I think it's about thunder. It's about itself.
Thunderstruck.
So he said it's about
itself.
Thunderstruck. The song is about itself. And I was like, what a great answer.
That's a Spinal Tap line where they all envy us.
It is. Yeah, just turn it on and listen to it. What's it about? It's about that.
Angus and Malcolm are being interviewed on MTV many years ago, and they're being interviewed, and they asked Angus about Thunderstruck, and he goes, I'm riding in an airplane. We're in a jet, and lightning hits the plane, and the whole thing lights up, and the power goes out. We end up landing just fine, and that's where I got Thunderstruck. There was a little pause, and Malcolm looks at him and goes, is that true? And Angus goes, no.
Perfect. Yeah.
Never happened.
Exactly.
Just when people ask, he just makes something up. You want to hear a good story? I got a good story for
I'll
you.
give it to you.
Yeah.
We're talking about parenting on the show today. Things you did differently after kid number one. The first kid's your tester. That's the litmus test.
Oh.
And like I've said for years, you're not ready to be a parent until the second kid comes.
Yeah.
Because then you realize you don't know how much you've learned until you get number two, and then you're like, oh, I got this.
Yeah,
okay. I figured this out.
I remember getting home that first day, and my mom was there. You know how moms come to help that first week they're home. Mm-hmm. And we go home, and mom's there. I'm like, thank God, or else this child would die.
Yeah.
Look at this little thing. We don't know what to do with it. And then by the second one, you realize it's not going to die. You just apply a little common sense.
Our son, Connell, was born on Monday. Rosemary went into labor Sunday, and then really long, 36 hours. It was a pretty rough situation, to spare you the details. He's born. He's okay. She's going to be okay. It's all good. Monday evening, he shows up. Monday evening, stay overnight, wake up Tuesday in the hospital, stay overnight a second night, and then Wednesday morning, they're like getting us, okay, this is going to be it. You're going to go home. And I'm looking at these nurses like, are you out of your minds? We can't take this baby home. We need a hospital. I need multiple doctors. I need round-the-clock care. What the hell are you thinking? And by the way, we're 35. We're not like teenage. We're not young parents. We have waited, or I'm just short of my 35th birthday, and Rosemary's already, and we're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Like we've not planned anything. But and so as luck would have it, my mom didn't make it up right away because my sister had a baby the next day too. We had our kids a day apart.
Babies were flying.
So mom goes to her daughter's house first, which checks out. Rosemary's mom's no longer with us, so then my sister-in-law comes up from Baltimore. She's a great mom, 4 kids. She's a nurse, checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
I'm like, Bev, you got to come up to New York when we get home. You got to be there to bring us home with the baby. Like we need, which is true.
We'll wait here for you.
And we're in the hospital, and we're literally like just about to leave. And I'm like, her train just got in. She'll be here in a minute. She walks in, and the relief was just palpable. Like, oh my God, there's an adult here who knows what to do. We drive home. I put the car seat in wrong. I don't even even know until we get home. I'm like, it was never even
down.
strapped in right.
Like,
and I'm driving down, and we're in New York City. I'm driving like 3 miles an hour with the hazards on. I'm like the baby on board douchebag, terrified.
Your dad probably wasn't even in the delivery room. I remember asking Dad if he was in the delivery room for anyone, if he was in the delivery room for Angie, and he goes, don't be obscene. I'm like, what?
Obscene?
I don't think it, what? Don't be obscene.
That's awesome. We get home, and then I'm there for 2 weeks, and then I got to go back on tour. I got to leave. The Black Crowes are touring with Jimmy Page that summer, and we had scheduled the big break in the legs around this. Like I had a due date. I'm like, I need time on either side. So thankfully it worked out. So thank God I was there. But he's 2 weeks old, or 2.5 weeks, and I got to leave for what's going to be a month. Didn't turn out to be that long. But when I'm leaving, we're a couple weeks in. We're on our own. So in the interim, my sister-in-law was there. Then my mom came up. Then Rosemary's sister was coming the day after I leave because I'm leaving her alone. And it's like, hey, I'll come up. You know, she's got a few sisters coming and going. Yeah. You know, so we got a good support system. I'm getting ready to go to the airport to leave, and Rosemary looks at me. She goes, "What? I don't know what to do." I go, "Well, you're the mom." She goes, "But what if?" I go, "He doesn't need anything. He's nursing and he's just crapping."
Right.
Yeah.
I said, "Just don't leave the apartment for 24 hours, and your sister will be here." She's like, "Oh yeah, right, of course." I mean, but we were just so like, oh my God. Flash forward 2 years. Our daughter's born at 10 a.m. on Monday morning, and at noon, I'm like, we can just go now, can't we? Can we just? I got her.
We want to get out of there.
I couldn't believe. I was like, she was born at 10 a.m. Why are we staying overnight? And the nurses, everyone's like, yeah, one night in the hospital is a good idea. I'm like, oh my God,
Jeez.
I got to get this baby home.
You're just trying to milk me for money.
You don't know anything, and then you know it all by the time number 2 comes along.
You're just on autopilot because you realize it is going to be okay, and you don't have to dote. We have something up on the KQ Facebook page if you want to chime in. Virginia, I thought it was so important for Magnolia to go to Catholic school. We paid all that money for tuition. Rocco is in straight public. F that tuition, F the second kid.
Wow. Yeah, there's
and Rocco. That's nice.
Yeah.
Rocco's pretty good. Our daughter came home and well, put it this way: when Connell was born, he they how they do the little test right away. They're like, okay, they weigh the baby and they put him and they just 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Mm-hmm.
They do the count. They just do the little quick checkup.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, he looks like he's good, and I'm like, are you sure? Are you just saying that? Are you just saying he looks like he's good? And then Marley's born, and they did notice, like early on, they were like, there may be something her left ear, like they did a little hearing test just to see, and she didn't respond so quickly.
Right.
And they're like, okay, that's something you'll want to check. Just flag it for later, maybe. I mean, the baby's.
I'm calling an ear specialist.
The baby's an
John
hour
Hopkins.
old, and they're saying this. So if that had been number 1, you're exactly right. I would have been like, "What do you mean? Flag it late? Let's get in there right now. They tell me my daughter's like, there may be something there. I'm like, yeah, whatever. She's fine. She's second kid. I mean, I remember getting her home. The first day we're home in the year 2000, Connell. I mean, we can't leave. We don't shut our eyes when we're in the room with him. We are like, that baby, that's our baby. He's just sitting there. He's asleep, and we just stare at him. We bring Marley home 2 years later. I mean, she closes her eyes, and we're both like, oh. It's amazing the difference.
How about Jessica? Things you do for your first kid you did not do for the rest of the kids. Baptize. Our second and third always ask why they're not baptized. You
know what? Hey, I'm number 8. So, I mean, by the difference between what my oldest brother got and me, I mean, you can only imagine. I should have my mom call in and go down the list of how differently things were by the time, I showed up.
I'll just splash some water in their face. They're
pretty
fine.
much.
Yeah. Ominous.
I'm the only of the. I never got confirmed. Like confirmation, something in the Catholic Church.
You're going to hell, brother.
And I didn't get confirmed because we moved from Maryland to Kentucky, and they do it younger in Kentucky than wherever we'd lived before.
Okay.
It was normally like a 7th grade thing, but we get to Kentucky, I'm in 5th grade. They're like, he's up for confirmation. My parents are like, that's too young. That's
Yeah.
And I was bummed because you pick a confirmation name. And mine was going to be, I was like, do I do John or Paul or John? I'm just going with one of the Beatles. That's all I knew.
Ringo, baby.
Yeah, really. So remember Pope Ringo? He was a pope, right? And so they said, we'll just wait. We're going to put that off. And literally 2 years later, they just slipped under the radar. They didn't notice. And I was like a senior in high school, and I looked at my mom once. I'm like, hey, Mom, I never got confirmed. She's like, right. I went, no, I never got confirmed. And she's literally like, what? Oh, my God. I go, it's too late now. I'm not getting confirmed with a bunch of 12-year-olds.
She's on the horn with the priest.
Soft. Like, I can't believe this.
Well, things you did with your first, you didn't do with your second. I'm thinking of teaching them to drive because, Taylor, this was the big moment. This is the dad moment. I've got this, Stace. This is what dads do. They teach the kids to drive. And by the way, I think Stacy ended up doing most of it, come to think of it, because Taylor was terrified by my manner or something. My seriousness, I took it. But it was, we're going to do this. I took her out to the fairgrounds for the first time because they have streets without other cars
on it.
Like, great idea.
Yeah, that's where we're going to do it. Sid the kid, I think it was once. I'm like, you got it. Yeah, you're right. Just don't forget to stop. Yeah, and look both ways. I don't remember ever giving her a second driving lesson.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, that was.
You do have so many advantages when you're the second or third or fourth kid because you're watching other small people do stuff. You have such a leg up, and just with our 2 kids. I mean, everything Connell did for the first time, we're like, that's amazing, you did it. But he doesn't have anyone. He's trying to act like us, whereas his sister is just acting like him. I mean, she was always right 2 years apart, but she was right behind him.
Yeah.
She figured out everything so much faster.
Now girls, they hit that
of
curve
course,
faster.
Yeah, and then the good thing about having a boy and then a girl is they hit like puberty and all the emotional craziness. They hit it at the same time.
Yeah,
because she's 2 years ahead of him. So they both lost their minds. At least we didn't have it staggered. Like they both went into the crazy tunnel. And then they came out together 5 years later. So, ages 12 to 17 or 10 to 15 as the case were, whatever it was. It was like, okay, at least you guys did that in tandem.
Yeah, right. Tanya, I didn't watch my second one as closely as I watched my first one. The first one kind of watched the second one, or so I thought. The horror stories I hear now of all the things they did as kids that I never knew about would definitely make me rethink my decision. Things that you did with your first kid you didn't do with the subsequent children. 651-989-ROCK if you want to call or text in this morning as well.
We just came out of AC/DC's Thunderstruck, and one thing that the older kid in our family got that the younger didn't was he grew up, he jumped right into like our music. Like he loved rock right off the bat.
Yeah.
And his little sister, our second kid, not at all. She just was like, she just got into her age appropriate modern pop, which is great. I mean, because I was always like, I didn't want my kid to like my music. Go find your own and then rebel against me. That's the natural order of things. But at the same time, and AC/DC was one of his bands. And I did have conversations with the first kid, unlike the second ever. I've spent their early years. I was on tour a lot. I'd call home and Marley would just be like, "I love you, Daddy. I miss you." Every night, every night. I called Connell once, and he's crying, and I'm like, "What's the matter?" And he's weeping into the phone.
Oh boy!
I'm like, "Buddy, I'll be home in 3 more sleeps."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, it's not that." And I'm like, "What?" And I finally get him to tell him what's wrong, and he crying, weeping says, "I'm crying. I'm so sad because I wish you were in AC/DC." I'm like, "What?" And the kid was brokenhearted that I wasn't in AC/DC. I thought, okay, that's an unusual moment for a dad and a kid, because I'm not thinking about it.
Probably would have worked for you too if you were in AC/DC.
I would have been thrilled to be in AC/DC.
It would have been a little extra bump for the show too. Steve Gorman, drummer for AC/DC on the show this morning. The Crows aren't bad.
No, not at all. I'm not suggesting that, but you just can't beat. Hey, I'm in AC/DC.
Yeah.
So that's it. If you want to hit the KQ talk and text line 651-989-ROCK, feel free to let it rip. There's a post up on the Facebook page. We will check your submissions there as well. Good news for everybody who's ever wondered, hey, is a taco a sandwich? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, May the 15th. Hey, a little before 8 o'clock, we're going to be giving away tickets to see Epic Eagles, the definitive Eagles tribute band, and we're going to play a game called What the Hell Does That Mean?
What?
That's what it's called. What the hell does that mean? It's going to be what it always is when we play games around here, an awful lot of fun. So stay tuned. We'll let you know when you will have your chance to win tickets to see Epic Eagles. Not the Eagles of death metal. Not the Eagles, not the bald Eagles, the Epic Eagles.
Epic Eagles.
Epic Eagles. Okay, everybody always talks about, you hear people mention this, it's a recycled story every year. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I've never heard anybody question whether or not a taco is a sandwich, but apparently it's gone to a judge in Indiana to make the decision.
What's going on in Indiana?
Is a taco a sandwich? I mean, I don't know. I maybe Indiana's the last place on earth to discover Mexican food. I'm not really, wait a minute, what is this? Hang on a minute.
It's a freaking taco. It has its own name. We call it a taco.
A gentleman named Martin Quintana has been trying to open a taco place in a strip mall in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And he ran into some red tape because there's a contract that says you can't have a sandwich shop here. You can't have certain big chains. You can only have made to order or Subway style sandwiches. That's what you can only serve in the strip mall. So he's trying to say, hey man, my tacos and burritos are sandwiches. sandwiches. Okay, the contract was designed. They were trying to keep big fast food chains from moving in. It's a strip mall. They didn't want McDonald's. They didn't want Burger King. Yeah. So they said it's got to be made-to-order sandwiches.
Okay. What about Jimmy John's?
I don't know. Maybe that's okay, but all I know is this. This dude went all the way to court to prove that a taco and a burrito are, in fact, a sandwich.
He approved that.
He said it's Mexican-style sandwiches, and the judge apparently agreed. And so now, at least in Fort Wayne, Indiana, if you say I'm going out for a sandwich, that does include a taco and a burrito and possibly a quesadilla.
That ain't right.
No, it's not right.
Yes, I'd like, how do you say taco in Mexican?
Taco.
Yes, that's exactly the word I want to translate.
Taco.
That's exactly it.
Just give me one of those crispy shells with meat in it.
All right. Burritos.
No one was ever more surprised than me as a kid when Taco Bell opened in our hometown, and my father embraced the concept. He was never ate fast food in his life. Didn't even eat pizza. He said it was kids' food. Pizza's for children.
I love that.
But not tacos. That's sophisticated.
And then literally brought home Taco Bell one day, and he goes, "What is that?" And we're like, "Taco Bell." And he took one bite of like an enchilada, the greatest ever Taco Bell, no longer included on the menu thing. And he was like, "Go get me some more of that." Like right away, he's like opening his wallet, and he goes, "Go get a bunch of stuff from there." And we brought back, and he would get the burrito supreme and some crunchy tacos, and we were like, "Man, Dad's cool. He likes Taco Bell."
It's addictive.
Rocking it. So lots of salt. He was raised on that,
yes,
like my dad. Yeah, if it's salty, it's good.
Yes, I like flavor. That'd be the answer to this.
Salt.
Did you want some salt? Yes, I like flavor. Speaking of weird things, Pizza Hut now has a sort of a burger. Pizza Hut is selling a cheeseburger melt. Says it's a thin crust, folded and loaded with beef, bacon, onions, mozzarella, and cheddar.
Yeah, like your dad, I was hesitant to try something new. My daughter was pushing the cheeseburger pizzas. Everyone has Red Savoy, Luce. All my favorite pizza places have a cheeseburger pizza now. I'm like, I'll have a cheeseburger or I'll have a pizza.
Yeah, sure.
Have you tried it, though?
I have tried it, and I'm addicted. Almost eat nothing else.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Rather than, I go to the frozen pizza section. Yes. I'm like, oh, there's the word cheeseburger. So now apparently cheeseburgers and pizzas are the greatest combination ever.
This Pizza Hut thing, it just looks like a big extra deep fried greasy quesadilla to me.
I'm going to eat it.
They should go with that name instead.
Big greasy deep fried quesadilla.
Man, what is there an acronym for that?
I don't know.
BGDFQ.
It sounds something like this.
Can I have a cheeseburger? Cheeseburger? Sure.
Hail Pizza Hut's royal masterpiece, the new Crown Crust Pizza, made with perfectly grilled mini cheeseburger gems, nestled in golden crown crusts, topped with beef, fresh veggies, and drizzled with Pizza Hut's special sauce. The new cheeseburger Crown Crust Pizza, relish of first-of-its-kind deliciousness.
That's what they did there.
Pizza.
Yeah, I'm all on board.
All right, I'll try one. I'll throw a little, I'll throw a bone out there for my BGDFQ friends. I'll get on the board. I'll get on board with them. Also, let's see, what else have we got here?
How about your Southern gal and her pickles and Dr. Pepper?
Oh.
That's where I draw the line. See, now I'm going to try pickles, but I don't like Dr. Pepper. So I doubt that. By the way, Devani's, I forgot to mention Devani's has a cheeseburger pizza. That's my new favorite.
Really?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I've resisted. I'll have to jump on board now.
Oh, it's going to change your life. You're going to have two lives, the one before cheeseburger pizzas and your new wonderful life now with cheeseburger pizza.
Okay.
She'd be tasty.
You never know what you're going to learn around here in the morning. But now I'm ready.
But pickles in your pop.
First things first, Sonic drive-thrus, the Sonic burger chain.
Yeah.
Silly question. Do we have those up here?
They're all over the place.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
I mean, but then sometimes you just I've seen them so long, like I don't remember. I'm like, yeah, I've seen them. So Sonic was big in the late 70s. They hit the first time I was aware of them.
They didn't get here until well into the 2000s.
Okay.
Kind of a new thing here, what, about 10, 15 years ago or something?
Yeah, maybe not even that long.
Down south, south in the 70s, Sonic was the place that we would go. It was on the boulevard in a small town. Friday night, you're in your friend's car cruising. Every car tuned to the same radio station, so you just have a nonstop wall of sound.
92.5.
And you just go back and forth up and down the boulevard. There was a Sonic, and that's where you would hang. That was the turnaround, and we'd hang there.
Kind of like American Graffiti. They all had the drive-in.
Exactly. And Dazed and Confused, there's a drive-in.
Right.
There's the big, but that was Sonic for my town. And then Sonic kind of just went away. Like something happened. Like the company ran bankrupt, whatever. But then, like you said here, like in the last 15 years, they just exploded again. They're everywhere down south.
Yeah, you remember Taco Bell and Pizza Hut we've been talking about?
Yeah.
Guess who now owns Sonic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that would explain it.
And then they brought it back nationwide, big and bad.
So I'm happy to know it's here because now I see I'm a guy who likes a Dr. Pepper, and I'm a guy who likes a pickle, but it never occurred to me to combine the two. But this is a video on TikTok, and it just warms my heart to hear a woman who calls herself Mississippi Meemaw.
That doesn't get any more southern.
Meemaw is like saying Nana. You know, it's Meemaw is granny or grandma. You know, it's like country strong. Meemaw had country strength. And so check this order out at a Sonic.
Do y'all like pickles? Do y'all like Dr. Pepper?
Oh, my.
Well, come on with Meemaw, because Meemaw finna show you something.
Sonic, this is Spider-Man. Take your order, please.
Yes, ma'am. I need to get a large Dr. Pepper with pickles.
All right, we got a large Dr. Pepper with pickles. And you're going to see the cherries up there, ma'am. And that's going to be your pickles, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. So this right here is a pickle Dr. Pepper. So it's Dr. Pepper, and don't knock it till you try it. If you like pickles and you like Dr. Pepper, and you're probably like, ew, gross, I would never, ever drink that. But there's a lot of people that do drink this. Did you hear the way she took my order? I'm not the only person that's ever ordered this
Thing.
thing.
Weirdo.
Going into detail.
By the way, thank you. Who is this? Chad. I stand corrected. Sonic owns Arby's, Dunkin' Donuts, Buffalo Wild Wings. All right. I know it was one of those big brands.
Conglomerates.
It's humiliating for you.
The best part of that order to me, well, there's two things I love. First is she says, I need a Dr. Pepper with pickles. And the clerk is like, all right, Dr. Pepper with pickles. like this is a common thing. And then the second one, she's explaining, well, on your receipt, it'll say cherries because we have to put something there and we don't have pickles for drinks, but we can add cherries. So you can also get it with cherries added, apparently. The other thing, did you guys ever do this?
Yeah, when she did double checks that.
How about salted peanuts in your Coke? That's a Southern staple.
I've
add peanuts to the Coke. Yeah.
I've heard it. I haven't tried it. I put olives in my beer before, but that's big at American Legions. A red beer, olives in beer. Yeah, see that.
Do y'all like pickles? Do y'all like Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
I like olives. I've never had an olive in a beer. That sounds fantastic, actually.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
In Australia, there was a lot of people putting Tabasco in beer. You'd put your beer down, like just one little thing of Tabasco.
Right. In case you want to piss and crap at the same time.
Well, it's funny you say that because there's a beer down there called Castlemaine, and it's Castlemaine 4X, and the line is they spelled it with 4 X's because they couldn't spell piss. So, a little shot of Tabasco is going to help you out when you get down there.
Keep it moving.
So, Zepp, you're a skier. You spend a lot of time on the slopes.
I do. I love it.
And is this something so maybe it's a silly question. Are you ever under the influence on the slopes?
Not much anymore. I take it a bit more seriously. I like to really get after it. And for that, I have to
you sound like an adventure skier. You're not just like sashaying down like me and all the other knuckleheads who are just trying not to fall. You're going after something.
I do about half my skiing at resorts, and then I like to get my skis off, throw them over my shoulder, and start hiking. About half my skiing is touring. You know, you put the skins on, you walk up and you ski down, and just get away from the resorts. Just go out into the backcountry, out in the wild, if you were. So I tend to do that sober, so I don't kill myself.
Sure.
But when I was younger, I was stoned and drunk and skiing.
Do you ever find yourself either intentionally or otherwise skiing backwards for any length of time?
I love to ski backwards.
You love to ski backwards,
absolutely,
because
just to mix it up. So say if I'm here in Minnesota at Afton or Welsh or one of our fantastic ski areas around here, or I'm out with Maria and we're just doing some blue runs and green runs and that sort of stuff, which I also like to do. It's a nice social thing. Get on the chairlift. Then to amuse myself, I'll just go backwards. It just makes it a little interesting, I guess.
How do you see?
Well, you don't really.
Yeah.
You just kind of
when you hit someone.
You go over you look over the shoulder, go back, look over the shoulder. You're just constantly swivel head, I guess.
It's kind of like with those cats that used to go backwards at the roller skating rinks. They just look over the shoulder.
Yeah, but they're not. But they don't have gravity helping them go faster and faster.
No
it's a little different.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not doing it out, and I'm not going 60 miles an hour backwards.
Makes for the taut buttocks as well.
That's really what it's all about, isn't it? Well, I ask because a Norwegian fella named Anders Bakke just set a new world record going backwards down a ski slope. 83 miles per hour.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's gonzo because, your sense of balance to go backwards and the pressure that you have to keep on your skis going that fast. So they've got the apps that can track you. So we found an app and we got in the truck and we got 70 miles an hour. The app says 70 miles an hour. I'm like, this thing works. So then we tried to break our speed limit all day, and I got to 72. The highest I've been is 77. Going forwards, 80 forward rather, going 83 backwards on a pair of skis is mind-boggling.
The guy, it's a hill in Norway.
I hope he was drunk.
Where he set the record. He starts by facing forward, of course, and then you do a 180-degree rotation. And he said when you drop in things, you're going so fast. You're going up to around 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles per hour in the end run, doing the 180 out of the ski jump, and then focusing on stomping the landing and keeping the position and balance all the way down. And also, of course, you have to get ready for the G-force at the bottom.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
G-force. The G-force is that you pull. One G-force would be you're pulling it right now. Correct me, please. 651-989-ROCK. It's been a while since I've tackled G-forces. And then 2 G-forces would be twice your body weight. So it's that force that pulls you away from the direction you're trying to go in when you're skiing. Wow. The World Cup skiers, the big badass men's skiers, are usually going around 80 miles an hour when they hit some of their top speeds. Wow. He was doing that backwards.
I can't believe
it.
Yeah,
the G-forces must have that's the thing. They start pulling you in one direction. You have to push back in the other direction, as it were. And yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I'm just a terrible skier. I mean, honestly, I've skied half a dozen times. Always have a great time. I'm way better at the end of the day than I am when I start every time. I have to remind myself a little bit. But I skied one time actually in New Zealand. There's a whole mountain range on the South Island called the New Zealand Alps.
And it's flipped down there below the equator. So you're probably August or something like July.
I'm in July. I'm skiing. And we were at a height of above the tree line, so pretty far up.
Yeah, above 8,000 feet.
And there was just this one slope that I'm on the easier ones, and then I got into like a mid-level one, and I was skiing and somewhat under control, and I'm just going back and forth. But even going back and forth, it's getting a little too fast. And I'm like, okay, I need to just go ahead and stop and take a breather, and I couldn't stop.
Yeah,
it was kind of icy, and I was like, my way of stopping now becomes I have to fall. I'm just gonna bail out.
I've been there,
and so I go and I turned left to cut back across. And I'm like, I'm just gonna lean up against the side of the mountain here, and then it didn't work, and then I was going backwards. And the next thing I know, I'm literally going backwards, and I'm looking up. I'm looking up the hill and skiing backwards for all of 5 seconds. It felt like 5 minutes,
right?
Maybe 5 seconds. And one of the guys I was with he's just right in front of me laughing at me because he can see whatever my face was making. And then he goes, fall. I'm like, I'm trying to fall, and I couldn't. And I finally go down on my side, and I continued laying. I ended up on my back, head first down. I couldn't stop.
Yeah,
I was just going, and I'm thinking, I'm going to run into something. And I'm like, I better at least try to get sideways so I don't go head first.
Yeah, bobsled.
And the whole time I'm going down this hill, head first on my back, and it was this is on tour. Our guitarist Mark who's a great skier. He's skiing next to me the whole time, going, "You're fine, keep going." He's calm, and I'm like, "But what am I going to hit?" He goes, "You're not going to hit nothing. We got a ways to go." And I'm like, "I can't stop." And he's laughing so hard. It was just one of those things that it unfolded over like a minute and a half. It felt like.
Fortunately, I have audio of that incident.
That That's exactly what it was. Holy smokes.
And you think if you had watched a recording of yourself doing that, you'd be, I was probably going 60 miles an hour. I was flying like Mach speed. And then you watch it and go, oh, I was just kind of pittering along there. It's like anything else you do. Like you said, you get better as the day goes on. The more you do it, the better you get. But when that learning curve, I didn't start skiing. I wasn't on a pair of skis for the first time until I was 32. That's the first time I put on a pair of skis, and then I just really got into it.
Yeah.
But it was that learning curve. You think that, oh, my God, I must have been going 50 miles an hour. They said, yeah, you were snow plowing. You had the pizza shape with your skis, and you were probably going 5 miles an hour. So that adds to it as well. But, yeah.
I'm giving some thought to hitting some cross-country skiing now that I'm up here.
Okay.
Nothing better to do in the winter to just keep your heart rate up and stuff, I would imagine.
I get on skis when I'm 32. I really get into it. It takes me a while to figure it out. Some really cool people out at Afton and Welsh spent a lot of time with me, getting me straightened away how to figure it out. And so now I've been skiing for, 15 years at this point in my life. And I'm like, I'm going to go out and do some cross-country skiing. Had to start all over again. What a miserable pair of, they're thin. I couldn't stand up. I was out at Como Park and little kids were laughing at me, and I'm like, all right, get your laugh in and then help the old man up. Come on, grab each arm, you little buggers, man. But I finally kind of got the hang of it a little bit. But it's a great workout in the winter.
I'm giving it some time, and when I say that, I'm actually I'm looking into it. I've studied where to go, how to learn. I'm seriously considering. I just think there'd be nothing better.
All over the metro.
Assuming we ever get a winter again around here.
They used to have that around the
I might
zoo.
want to pursue.
I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah, the zoo would be
around
cool.
The zoo. Yeah.
That would be a cool place to do it.
On the KQ Talk and text line 651-989-ROCK, we have a lot of texts about an earlier topic. What's the major difference between the first kid and all the subsequent kids as a parent? Paul texted in, major difference between first and second. I wasn't there for the conception of the second.
Oh,
my God.
There's the difference.
Oh,
didn't see that coming.
That's a different one for sure.
Well,
here's a great one that echoes what we were talking about. First child driving from the hospital. I was mortified. 25 miles per hour. I drove as if I had an open container of uranium. Child number 2, we hit the Taco Bell drive-thru on the way home. That, Jay, is exactly what we're talking about. Such a difference.
That's brilliant. I love it. Well, keep them coming. We got something on the KQ Facebook page as well. That first kid, things you did differently you didn't do with the other kids. Right now, on the KQ92 talk and text line. Callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing What the Hell Does That Mean? For a chance to win tickets to see Epic Eagles, the definitive Eagles tribute band. That's happening Friday, May 31st at Treasure Island Event Center. Thank you to Treasure Island for the tickets. Get on the horn, 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Yep. It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Oh, that was the Eagles Hotel California. Guess who's playing the Sphere in Las Vegas?
Are they doing that?
The Eagles.
Yeah.
Of course. It was just a matter of time. It's not officially been announced, but everybody is saying they have agreed to a residency at the Sphere. The number of shows and the terms of the deal have yet to be disclosed. I think the terms of the deal are they're going to make $1 billion playing
we just
there.
talked to Mark down in Lake City with the Lake City Governor's fishing opener and that whole thing he was talking about. He just was out for U2's big deal. Now they have Fish and the Grateful Dead experience there, but yeah, he was out there for U2. I know, we've talked about this. I like the little dive bar shows. Of course. I love me some First Avenue and Turf Club. However, I'm all into the technology. I really want to check this out. I got to get out there and get some tickets.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, just the shots of the Sphere from as people are on planes taking off or landing, and they look out the window and see it.
Yeah,
the exterior is all high def screens too,
right.
And so the one that it just looked like a giant basketball. Or a giant eyeball, or just anything they've put on the exterior of that building. Every time I'm like, that's got to be the weirdest thing in the world to be flying in at night. And you look over and there's an eyeball watching your plane land, and it's not real. But I'm sorry, it's a horror film. It's like that's Rodin. He's here to eat me.
Here's what I'm thinking. Las Vegas, recreational pot legal, edibles, Sphere, Eagles. Yeah, I'm down.
Well, it'd be fun to play with that,
wouldn't it?
Play with the Severe.
James Dolan, who built the Sphere, he's the guy who owns the New York Knicks, the Madison Square Garden. He's just a standard crazy billionaire owner, billionaire who inherited it. Didn't earn. His dad did the work. He inherited it, and he's a bit of a nut job. The Knicks are in the playoffs right now for the first time. They haven't mattered in 20 years. It's the crown jewel of the NBA, the New York Knicks, and he's just about destroyed them. Anyway, but Jimmy Dolan.
You just said they were in the playoffs.
They are. But they're not going. This is a long story.
Right.
Here's my point. James Dolan is one of those guys who he's got a band, JD and the Straight Shot. He's got a blues band, and he's a scion of Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm going to sing some blues for you.
Little vanity project.
And his band is. I mean, you can YouTube it, man. It's there. It's so bad. I mean, it's just, and he wears like a cowboy hat, like not a cowboy hat, but like a leather, like a Richie Sambora look.
Oh, okay.
You're a billionaire owner of you own the Madison Square Garden and the Knicks and all the things that go with it, and you're going to play the blues.
Well, you said inherited his money. He was raised a billionaire. He's he's like a royal kid. He's like Michael Jackson's one of his kids. They're just raised weird.
You're not gonna but I'm just like what I remember George Carlin had the thing about when he goes, when I watch certain artists, he goes, it's like any white guy sings the blues. What, Banana Republic closed? What do you have the blues about?
So the stitching is off.
But James Dolan, here's the thing. This is the connection to the Sphere and the Eagles. More than a few occasions, the Eagles have played Madison Square Garden, and JD and the Straight Shot are the opening band. He opens for the guy who owns the most famous arena on the planet is in the opening band when the Eagles come, because he and Irving Azoff are buddies.
Now I'm just wondering if they're doing it for a paycheck.
It's just crazy. It's just endlessly fascinating. By the way, I can never reveal my source, but I've got a great Jimmy Dolan story, which is really, it's about fathers and sons. So it's applicable. I mean, I don't, no one cares about the Knicks. No one cares about the Garden, but as a dad with a son, it's a good tale. I'll share that in a little bit. It's worth the wait. But right now, more pressing business on the KQ92 Talking Text line. We have two callers lined up and ready to play a game. Here's what we got today. We have a runner-up prize of Epic Eagles tickets. The Epic Eagles are playing Friday, May 31st. But check this out. July 12th, we've got at Lakefront Music Festival tickets for Pat Benatar, Neil Giraldo with BTO and Berlin.
Brilliant.
As your winner today. I'm just going to ask the question, what the hell are we going to do, Tony?
How about we do this?
What the hell does that mean? That means whatever the hell you want it to mean.
What the hell is even that?
What the hell does that mean?
What the hell does that mean?
Words are good. We know that. We like to use words. They come in handy, especially ones we don't know the meaning of. But hopefully you do, our brilliant listeners. Impress us with your exemplary vocabulary. We'll give you a word, and you tell us which definition is the correct one. And prizes ensue.
I like it. What the hell does that mean? Let's do it. Who is caller / contestant number one?
Our first contestant is Ozzy from Shakopee.
Ozzy, good morning.
Hey, good morning. What the hell?
What the Ozzy? What the hell? Is Ozzy a nickname or is it short for something? Is your name actually Osborne? Where do you get the Ozzy from?
It's just short. It's short for Oswald.
Oh, for Oswald. Right on.
All right.
I dig it. All right, Oswald. We'll go with Ozzy. We'll go with the more casual.
Let's do Ozzy.
Yeah, we'll go with Ozzy. Good luck to you, sir. Tony's going to... Okay, thank you for that. Tony's going to take it from here.
All right, Ozman, I'm going to give you the word, and you tell me out of the choice of three which is the correct definition. Your first word is adulation. Adulation. Is it A, an eruption on the skin, specifically the elbow area? B, excessive flattery or praise? Or C, to wiggle and squirm because you have to pee really bad?
Let's go with C.
Nope. Sorry, Oz. It's excessive flattery or praise.
Something I've never been...
never experienced that.
Never experienced.
Would have given that to Ozzy had he gotten it right. But sorry, Oz. That's all right, Oz. You got 4 shots at this. Number 2, aesthetic. A, relating to beauty. B, a tranquilizer. C, one who participates in activities and exercises that only benefit in building a shapely buttocks. Aesthetic.
A.
Correct.
It's not a tranquilizer?
Took me a minute to figure out where you're going with the aesthetic. I was like,
Well,
all right, 1 for 2, Ozzy. Keep it up.
Ozman, number 3 is Verve. Verve. A, the nickname of the old school neighborhood barber. Sorry.
Hey, Verve.
B, enthusiasm or vigor. Or C, the noise that creepy Mothman in your closet makes.
B.
Correct. All right, here's your last one, Oz. Gaffer. A, a person in charge of lighting on a TV or movie set. B, someone who is constantly gaffing. Or C, a big glob of saliva hung from the lip threatening a brother or sister who's pinned down.
What was the word?
Gaffer.
Oh, God. What was A?
A person in charge of lighting on a TV or a movie set.
Let's do that.
Let's do that, and you got it right. Ozzy.
3 for 4. Different meaning in England. Gaffer in England is like the coach of a team. Oh, the gaffer. Let's see what the gaffer has to say.
I didn't know that.
Go figure. Ozzy, 3 for 4. Strong effort, my man. We're going to put you on ice for a moment. We'll go to contestant number 2. Who we got?
The lovely Jennifer from Corcoran.
Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a Pat Benatar fan by any chance?
I sure am.
Well, you're in the right place. We got Pat Benatar tickets on the table. If you can go 4 for 4, then you will be today's winner. 3 for 4 puts you into a tiebreaker. Good luck, Jennifer.
Let's go, Jenny. Number 1, your word is drachma. Tasting bean paste. B, a silver Greek coin. Or C, a giant teenage squid that battled Godzilla.
Let's go with B.
Now you're talking.
A teenage squid?
Yeah, specifically.
The most dangerous of all squids.
I know.
They don't know the strength of their own bite.
No.
Attitude.
King Kong put him in the corner.
Number 2, Jen, antithesis. Is it a new math challenge rivaling algebra and calculus? B, referring to the exact opposite of someone, something, or an idea? Or C, the clingy ex-girlfriend of Hercules? Antithesis.
B, as in boy.
Nice job, Jen.
Antithesis. She was a stage 5 clinger.
Man, bingo.
God, just... What's a god got to do to get a little space?
You got 2 more. Number 3 is air screw. A, a spontaneous travel benefit. B, an aircraft propeller. Or C, the new Nike line of condoms. Jennifer.
I'm going to go with B.
Good call.
Nailed it.
Oh, the air screw. By the way, not a word that women particularly like. Just every once in a while, I like to mix it up. Hey, honey, you want to go screw? Mm-hmm. She does not like that.
No, never. It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
It's not vulgar. It's not. It's a screw.
Floated it out there.
All
right, your last one, Jen. Disparate. Disparate. Is it A, describing distinctly dissimilar things? To be messy and unkempt? Or to refer to a particularly brightly colored bird that can talk? Disparate.
A.
Jennifer comes through. How about
Jennifer runs the table. Nah, disparate over here. That parrot over there wants a cracker.
That's right.
Jennifer, well played. 4 for 4 means you have tickets July 12th. Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, along with BTO and Berlin. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Have a great night there. Ozzy, my man, 3 for 4 earns you Epic Eagles, the Definitive Eagles tribute band, Friday, May 31st at Treasure Island Event Center. Thank you both for playing. Well done. That's a good time.
Off they go.
Berlin's still out there kicking it. I didn't know they were still a thing. I haven't heard of Berlin in years. But
no, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Real quick, and I'm gonna come back around and tell you the story I promised you.
About the billionaire and his dad.
So Jim Dolan is the guy who runs all the stuff now. His dad, Charles Dolan, best known that he's the founder of Cablevision, HBO, and a few other things.
I heard of him.
Built himself up. His company now, all the Madison Square Garden stuff, Radio City Music Hall, BBC America, AMC television networks. I mean, this is a conglomerate worth many, many billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So when he was when Charles Dolan was still running the Madison Square Garden, I had a buddy that worked there for the MSG networks. And this whole thing went down at work where the son, James Dolan, would come into work from Connecticut and he would always drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini into work.
He probably didn't know they made other vehicles.
Yeah, pretty much. And he would park it in the executive parking. And he walked out one day and somebody had spilled something on the hood of his car. The kid, and he's like, what the? And he gets house security. Did you see anyone who has access? This is only the top level executives can even get into this garage. Someone spilled something on my car. They're like, we'll look into it, Mr. Dolan. We're so sorry. About a week later, it happens again.
Yeah.
This is in the 90s. Guy freaks out. He goes, I need security cameras put in there. Let's go. And then he does a whole thing where he's rifling around, asking everybody, have you been in there? Did you do it? He's accusing people of having
spilled acid on the car.
Yeah, it was just it's like a spill. It was like coffee or a soda. It's something. A milkshake.
Yeah, have the butler clean it up.
He says, put security cameras in there. They're like, it's the executive garage. There's only like 9 people with access. He goes, yeah,
just
I don't
fire
care
the other 8 people.
Puts cameras in there. No one knows he does this except the head of security. They put security cameras in. Happens again. And it's like it's a globby. It is like it's a milkshake or something like that. They go to the tape. It's his dad. The guy that founded the company is egging, he's egging and otherwise he's like, who drives a Ferrari to work? What's the matter with you?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And he goes, all right, just pull the cameras out. Never mind.
It was dad.
It's my favorite
Dear
story.
old dad. I love it.
Fantastic. It's like the difference between the guy that builds it and the guy who inherits it. Who drives a Ferrari to work in Midtown Manhattan? What's the matter with you?
Yeah, I'm sure Dad knew that the cameras were even in there. He's like, I see he's put up cameras.
Couldn't have cared less.
Dumbass.
Yeah, I built this. Thanks for nothing. Awesome. You may have heard me talking about the fact that I got I got surgery on my eyes. My vision's just really spectacular right now. Although, if there's anything I regret, it's not waiting until the newest invention out of Scotland, because the one thing I can't do with my new eyes is shoot laser beams from them.
What?
Someday.
Oh, I'm not kidding. Someday is today. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, May the 15th. As I mentioned a moment ago, I had a little something called Restorative Lens Exchange. My friends over at OVO, LASIK and Lens. OVO, I see great. I'm very, very happy with this. Although, they didn't let me know that I might soon have been able to make the option of having laser beams shooting from my eyes. That's right. Superman-esque laser beams from my eyes. One step closer to reality thanks to a bunch of Scots over at the University of St. Andrews.
What?
In Scotland. Ocular lasers. Lasers on the eye may now be possible. They have developed an ultra-thin membrane it's an ultra-thin membrane laser using organic semiconductors. Okay, granted, not exactly like the guy on that show, The Boys from Amazon, where you just get mad and blast a hole through a wall. It's not Superman X-ray vision, but it's just a laser in your eye that you could read like barcodes with and do sort of
what
weird,
a superpower.
Yeah, weird practical applications to this.
I'm telling you, we're getting rid of these phones. We're getting rid of these phones. Within 5 years, we're going to be going. We'll be sitting around. There'll be kids going. So when I was growing up, we had phones. You had what? We had these little computers. You know, that you could text on and make phone calls and pay your bills and basically run your life from these little things. And we carried them around. We were constantly looking for them, looking for a pocket to stick them in. Phones are going away, man.
I do believe that's true. I mean, last summer, like Apple put out an ad for those glasses, VR thing. Not just so much VR, but even Apple Vision, and it's like all the stuff you do on your phone now. It just floats in front of you, and you do hand signals and open all of it.
Right in front of you.
And when I saw that, it really was very unsettling, and because I thought to myself, okay, what about live music? Like, what people will grow up not getting how cool it is to go to a club and see a rock band. It's already nothing like it used to be, but I just thought, like, how do you compete? How does a mime compete with that? How does a juggler compete with that, much less a rock band?
They don't.
They're struggling with that right now.
Yeah, what was the last time you saw a mime or a juggler? It's called the Renaissance Festival.
I'm just saying, any number of artisans of any
Steve's
particular
worried
craft.
about the mimes and the jugglers all of a sudden.
Sensitive man.
They had at the big tech show out in Las Vegas last year, and I was just watching YouTube videos of it. Obviously, I wasn't there, but the glasses that they have now, so they have little speakers back in the ear things, so you can hear. I mean, it's all in there. And if it's recording everything you're watching all day long, so you can go back into the cloud later and just take a look, replay your day if you want to. Talk about Black Mirror.
Yeah, that's it, boy.
But if someone asks you a question, so if you turn on a particular feature of it, and they were doing this at the tech show, and someone would just come up and ask them a question, what's the Pythagorean theorem? Up here in the right corner of the eye, just kind of translucent in your vision, it'll lay out the Pythagorean theorem.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
That's it, baby.
Wow.
You didn't even need the pair of glasses, but
I don't know what it means, but I remember it.
Or how to apply it.
Yeah, it's got something to do with a triangle, maybe.
In other words, so reaching down here for your phone and going, hold on, what is the Pythagorean theorem? You don't even have to ask. They ask you, your glasses will answer for you.
All that means is we're going to be wearing these glasses and looking at cat videos like we do with our phones.
You're right.
We have all the information ever gathered in human history, and we're going to be going, did you see the one where the cat jumps onto the dynamite stick and almost gets blown up, but saves the day by eating the tuna fish sandwich?
You think we're distracted now with our phones. Can you imagine now it's right in front of your eyes everywhere you go? You're going to be talking to someone and you're not listening. No, I'm watching cat videos.
Actually, it might be less distracting because you're having the experience at the same time.
Yeah.
You won't have to step away.
Maybe this is where the two worlds finally meet. Maybe this is the meld, the new reality.
I'm optimistic.
It's going to turn into, this is how we're going to end up using this stuff. We're going to be sitting at a bar, and a woman walks up and goes, hey, have we met before? And in your glasses, she's going to look like, it's going to be like Ursula Andress from Dr. No walks up to you, and instead of, Kathy from accounting.
Don't take those damn glasses off.
It's like, who needs beer goggles? I'll just put on my Apple things and I'm looking. You go into the bathroom at the bar and you're kind of drunk. You look in the mirror and there's Dolph Lundgren staring back at you. You're like, this is a great night.
We're going to be a couple of years into our new glass life here, and you're just going to do something weird like take off your glasses and go out for the day and just be freaked out. Yeah. This is what the world looks like now. This is how we interact with it. I'm seeing people as they actually look. I'm telling you, it's not far off, man.
You're going to have limitations on these things. Like the warning label on these glasses it's going to need to say 9 minutes max. Don't exceed 10 minutes per sitting.
Okay.
I think about they showed a thing I saw where on airplanes they're gonna the future is gonna be no more movie screens on the seat in front of you, or that you pull up from your seat or hang from the from the ceiling. Everybody's just gonna get these glasses on a plane,
right?
And then
goggles.
and it's gonna look amazing. But one of the options they said they'd have, you can hit a button and where you'll see everything you're sitting in except the entire plane. It'll look like it's made out of the whole plane's a window, and you'll be able to literally look right outside your plane as if the whole thing's made of glass.
Wonder Woman.
Sense? Yeah, like Wonder Woman stuff. Like the plane's invisible, and because the plane will be there'll be cameras like they do at the Sphere. Like there'll be cameras on the outside of the plane that show you exactly what's right outside the plane. So it will appear as if you are in a glass airplane.
Nuts,
terrifying, but cool.
And it's very realistic.
Right.
It's exactly what it would be if it were a glass airplane. And I just think about all the people who will hit that switch accidentally.
No.
Just be a series of random.
Yeah, no, we gotta.
Will the floor do that as well?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to sedate these people. Yeah, people are going to have to immediately. Yeah, there's got to be sedation on planes. I've been arguing that for years anyway.
I think, that's a pretty good point. Like, enjoy your flight. Here's a Valium. Enjoy your flight. Here's a Valium. We'd all get along a lot better. I saw an old Bill Murray quote. He said, if we made adults take naps, the world would be so much easier.
Yep.
We'd all get along so much better.
Probably eliminate violence.
If we made travelers take Valium, the world would be so much easier.
Just pump it right into the plane, right into the air vents.
Give everyone on a plane Valium, and just have a lot of chips, and just give us snacks and Valium. Be fine with that. 9 minutes. That's what I want the warning label to say on the glasses that change our lives. Do not wear for any more than 9 minutes. That'll never happen. No. But I do like this. How about this? This is speaking of warning labels. Here's a couple of very real warning labels on a wheelbarrow that you can purchase in the United States of America. It says, not intended for highway use.
How about just not intended for use? It looks like a lot of work whenever there's a wheelbarrow involved.
Thank you very much. I have a wheelbarrow, and I can't keep the front tire from deflating, so I never use it, and I don't have a pump.
So a decorative plant
just
holder
sitting
now.
there. It is. And every time you see a warning label on a product, you realize it's there because of an incident that happened that forced that to now be
all forced.
I mean, think
there's
about
probably litigation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I took my wheelbarrow out on 35W and just got taken out. Totally a car hit me, rear-ended me. That's BS. There was nothing on this wheelbarrow that said that I couldn't take it out on 35W.
There's a baby stroller, and one of the warnings: remove child before folding.
Well, that's for dads.
That's exactly what that's for.
Come here, baby.
On a thermometer. Again, we're not making these up. Once used rectally, the thermometer should not again be used orally.
Well, that's A to mouth. Yeah, that's ass to mouth. That's a genre actually, but it's a camp.
It took me a second to figure out what you were talking about. Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No.
That's not good. An Apple iPod Shuffle contains these 3 words. Do not eat.
Apple. Yeah. Oh, man, we shouldn't. Yeah, we're not idiocracy, man. We're headed in the wrong direction.
This is a sad one. A vehicle from Chipotle, a Chipotle truck, says on the side of the truck, drivers do not carry burritos. Well, then what are you doing?
The what?
Well, then
what do they got in there? Yeah.
More workers? Like what are you shuttling workers from location to location?
Or people holding them up? Give me all your burritos. We don't have any burritos.
They're having a run on the pinto beans at Chipotle and University. Let's get 3 of your guys over there. Stat.
Burritos.
Man. A carpenter's drill, an electric drill that carpenters use. This product not intended for use as a dental drill.
Oh, again, some redneck. I got you, buddy. No. Ain't gonna. You don't have to have any dental insurance.
It's always every year, at least once a year, there's a story of somebody operating he was doing dentistry in his basement, and they never have and I always just think about 2 things. One, the person who decides I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then anybody who walks into someone's house and he goes, yeah, I'll give you the filling. Come downstairs to a basement.
Yeah. I remember being out.
I don't care what your situation is. You got to realize that's a red flag.
We're out hunting, and I kept myself skinning a deer and opened it up pretty good on the hand between the thumb and the forefinger there, the pointer. And my buddy's like, oh, hold on, I got that. He goes, I'm like, crap, I might need a stitch or 2. I don't think this is going to close up. He goes, I got you. And I thought he has one of those butterfly bandages that Mom always had handy. Okay. Slap that on there. And he comes back with a needle and thread. And I'm like, F you.
No, deer
Do I look
hunter.
like Rambo? I'm like, no, you know what? I'll just, pinch it shut till I get it. I ended up getting a couple of stitches in there, but I'm like, no, we're not hardcore in this. I'm not that drunk.
We call Band-Aids patches in our house.
Patches?
It's a patch. Do you need a patch? And the reason is, on a hike we were like in a place in North Carolina called Grandfather Mountain over in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah.
With the kids, and we didn't intend to take a hike. We were doing other stuff. Like, it wasn't a day. It was like a trip to the mountains. Okay. And on this particular day, we came across this incredible bridge. It was like one of these dangling wooden a bridge from one peak to another that kind of hangs over a crevasse, and it was like it's a touristy thing. And so whatever it was. Thank you, pedestrian thing. So we were like, oh well, that's cool. Let's do that. We pull off, and it's like a half-mile walk to the thing. Okay. But we're all just in sneakers and short. We're not like in hiking gear, but it's no big deal. So I just didn't want to I didn't want you to think we went on a deep hike without any supplies. But as we're walking, our daughter Marley, she slips and she just goes right down, skins her knee. And she's like, ah! And we're like, oh no! And we don't have anything. And right then, a guy who is apparently hiking the Appalachian Trail, like some professional, he's got the whole thing. He walks past us, and then he looks back and sees her, and he turns, and with the nicest, most sincere smile and in the thickest German accent you've ever heard, he goes, does the little girl need a patch?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I said, excuse me? He goes, does the little girl need a patch on her kneecap? And I go, patch. And then he's immediately opening up, busts out this first aid kit. And I go, oh, a band? I go, yeah, that'd be great. And she completely stops crying. She's like, what in the hell is happening here? Yeah. And he goes, here you go. I've got several sizes. Let's pick out the right one. And
tell me there was lederhosen involved.
Not that we were. He didn't open up the whole backpack. But
no Neosporin?
No Neosporin. But he had the patch. And he handed it, and we put it on. And we were like, thank you so much. And he hadn't gone 20 feet away, and this Connell, our son, is like, a patch. And we're like, hey, whatever he calls it was, and that's still to this day. It's just like, and usually with the German accent, anytime someone's got a little, like you say, you're chopping on, oh, I caught my finger. Anyone in the family would be like, does someone need a patch? It's just what we say.
That's great.
It's just what we have to go with. Yeah. Here's a jet ski warning label: never use a lit match or open flame to check fuel level. Again, that's there because someone did.
Yep. Kaboom.
Wow. What does it take? I mean, seriously, how much gas is in there? I don't know. Got a match?
Yeah.
That's just not the kind of thing you expect to hear.
If it blows up, there was fuel in there. Actually, that would have been just the fumes.
This is great. This is on a dog medication. May cause drowsiness. Use care when operating a car.
Fido.
Puts me right back to Tony's love of Go Dog Go.
Yeah.
Those dogs are racing cars to the big party in the tree.
Yeah.
Rat poison. This is the best one of all of them. Rat poison has been found to cause cancer in laboratory mice.
Yeah.
It's fine if you kill rats, but my God, you could make those mice sick.
Oh, my God. Well, the rats will eventually die, but they have to get a melanoma. It takes about 3 to 6 months.
That's incredible.
They become very emaciated, and it's a long, terrible death for them. What about this one? Take out cup of coffee. Avoid pouring on the crotch area.
Well, sure.
Possible.
That goes. That's the McDonald's lawsuit, the very famous lawsuit. A woman got third-degree burns driving her vulva to. I'm sorry, couldn't resist the joke. She was in a drive-through in her vulva. No, but the woman literally the coffee was so hot. I was never worried about the heat of a McDonald's cup of coffee, but we all know those apple pies will just scald your mouth.
Oh, God, yes.
Caution, filling is hot. We all grew up with that one.
You ever take one of those home, and why does the outside will still be, throw it in the refrigerator, I'll eat that one later because I got 4 of them.
Yeah.
And then I pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds. The outside crust still cold, but the inside lava. Just lava. That stuff heats up in like 1 second.
Frightening technology.
No, it's a medicated goo that they cooked up in some laboratory somewhere.
It is
now with real apple flavor. ain't no damn apple in there, but it's something. It's something. It's something out of a river near a nuclear power plant. That's the slurry. It's like Lisa Simpson's slurry. Is that apple pie filling? Man, we're gonna get an email from McDonald's any moment now. That would be one thing. Hey, I do have a question for you, Zep. You're a South Dakota guy.
Yes, sir.
You familiar with a tavern?
I do know what a tavern is in South Dakota, and we're not talking about the drinking kind.
I thought a tavern was a place you walked into and ordered a beverage.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently not in South Dakota. How about a little slang lingo weirdness? And tavern leads the list. We'll share those with you in just a few minutes. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
This is the KQ Morning Show. My name is Steve Gorman. It's Wednesday, May the 15th. We've been talking throughout the day on and off about the difference parents experiences, difference after the first kid. You have one kid, you do one thing, you do things a certain way, I should say. By the time the second kid comes around and all the subsequent kids, it's a whole different scene, is it not? And on the KQ talking text line, 651-989-ROCK, I'm just catching up to some text messages. I feel like this is my favorite one. I was still little when my sister was born, but I do remember that my dad decided at that point to quit smoking. When I asked him why, he told me straight up, because it's bad for the baby. And then I didn't think anything of it until years later.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
Well, maybe parenting is a learning process. Probably didn't realize on the first kid that that secondhand smoke stuff. That took us all by surprise. We're like, wait, secondhand smoke? My mom and dad smoked till I was probably about, 12 or something like that. Dad was trying to carry a calf up a hill and had to sit down about 4 times. They said, I thought I had a heart attack. So they quit smoking. That and he's terribly cheap and they got really expensive. But we used to drive around in the car with the windows up and mom and dad both smoking in there.
Sure.
It was a hot boxing,
Yeah, no,
it
just going.
I got my share of secondhand smoke and then firsthand, of course.
Same. I never smoked. I as a kid, like the way you do with friends, you just grab a few Pall Mall Filterless from your friend's mom's cupboard and go out to the golf course and all that. But I was never a smoker per se, but I do remember when the smoking ban, when state after state, like late 90s, started saying, hey, no more smoking in bars.
Yeah,
I wasn't a smoker and I was like, what are you talking about?
Right,
it's the whole point. You leave and you smell like smoke.
Right.
I couldn't imagine that not being the case. And the first time I went into a bar without smoke was actually in New York City, of all places. You'd think that'd be the last place to do it. I went to a pub and had a great night, and I walked out and I was like, holy smokes, this is kind of nice.
I sat here on this very frequency and railed and raged.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm like, we can't smoke in bars. You cannot, make something illegal, legal behavior to a private business. And I just went on and just read them the riot act. And much like you, after it was all said and done, I'm like, I don't miss it. And I was a smoker. Although you did have to go through a cloud of smoke to get into any bar.
Well, sure, because everyone's right outside,
Especially the turf club. I'd go over there and there'd be like 50 of us outside smoking. You'd have to run the gauntlet of smoke to get inside. Then we went to Nashville. It seems like smoking it exists. I have some friends here that still do it. And every once in a while, Dirty Rotten Biker Festival, I'll say, hey, man, can I bum my heater off you? And then I get about halfway through it, a little lightheaded, start coughing and go, all right, I got that out of my system again. But when we went down to Nashville, Tobacco Road, or whatever it's called, right there on Main Street, remember, Tony?
Yeah.
Of course, we went into a bar that was...
Santa's Pub.
Yeah, you can smoke in here.
Ashtrays everywhere.
Ashtrays everywhere, but people were smoking everywhere. Tobacco still on the menu down there, and it blew me away. I was like, I forgot how bad they stunk, man.
Santa's Pub it's off the grid. It's its own little universe anyway.
Yeah, but just on the streets. There was the waft of tobacco in the air.
When you're drinking at a place called Santa's Pub and it's a double wide trailer, and it's just off in some neighborhood that really doesn't make any sense. It's nowhere near anything else. You're like, huh.
Yeah, in October.
This is a little different.
That was wonderful.
Santa's Pub, because it's always snowing inside. That was the original meaning.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, you could always go there if you want to stay up real late. And then if you want your real lates turn into the morning, go get some snow at Santa's Pub.
Hey, now.
One of those kind of spots. I went in there in the night long before I lived in Nashville. Went in there one time with the whole band, and there was a house band playing. That was the first experience you have where you're like, these guys are amazing, and they're playing for literally like a bag of peanuts.
Yeah.
Like, good set, boys. Honey roasted or salted? It's just like, wow, it's hard to make it in this town.
Yeah.
Because those guys are great. Another subject we were talking about on the show today was warning labels on products and how bizarre they can seem. On the talk and text line, here's a text. I worked for a major insurance company in the 80s and 90s. I learned why your push engine lawnmower has a warning to tell you not to pick your mower up to trim your hedges. Two gentlemen from the Asia subcontinent thought it would be the perfect way to get a nice flat hedge topped. Both grab a side of the mower and walk the hedge row, trimming the top.
Okay, Laurel and
the
Hardy.
hedges never got done. They both lost a fair number of digits.
Oh, I do remember getting that sucker up on the side once, or doing a wheelie with it to try and use it as kind of like a weed whacker. Getting a little close to the steps there, and sparks would fly, and a chunk of cement would go, and I'd be like, all right, you know what? Maybe I'll just fire up the old weed whacker.
Oh boy, that's man. I tell you what. Hey, if anybody has ever, over the years, if you've lost a tooth for any reason, I mean, either in an accident you lose one out, or you just grind them, you file them down, you grind in your sleep. Enamel decays. We find ourselves needing various things. Check this out. Japanese researchers are beginning trials on humans after successful animal trials of a tooth regrowth drug. They are developing the technology to regrow teeth.
And they're up to the human trials, you said?
They are starting human trials in September. 30 adult males.
That freaks me out. Well, we'll see how the other humans do. That's going to have to be around for a while before I want to try it. I'd like to keep all my teeth in my head, of course.
You definitely want to wait second or third generation that they roll out.
That'd be growing out of your cheek or something.
My first thought exactly. How do you keep them from growing out of your ears?
How do you stop it?
Yeah, exactly. What if it's like 5 inches long? You've got a big saber tooth coming out of your mouth.
Cool.
For people suffering from both people who have congenital lack of teeth, or you've lost teeth along the way.
Growing
That's
teeth.
what they're working. They say they've been working on, medical researchers have been developing these things for years because other animals can regrow teeth, and they're like, well, why not humans? Let's just get to work.
Well, there goes the gummer.
Yeah, that's it.
Looking forward to that.
So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm no longer reading the article. I'm just going to assume that what they're doing is taking alligator saliva. I'm just going to say it's alligator saliva, and they're putting it into capsule form, and then they're adding some psilocybin, and then next thing you know, you're tripping and you got new teeth.
We got a little pretty mouth thing.
Again, that's my research right there, not the official story.
Probably pretty close.
But I wouldn't be surprised. It does probably sound something like that. Zepp, I asked you before the break if you knew this. I've never heard this, but then again, I've only been in South Dakota a few times in my life and got in, played a gig, kept moving. I've not spent a lot of time there. A term that to me means one thing, a tavern. A tavern is a place you go and sit down and order a beer or a glass of suds or a cocktail. You, sir, as a South Dakotan, you think of something else when someone says, have you got any taverns?
Sloppy Joe's. That's what our taverns, and I don't know how it originated, but...
Did you know that, Tony?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah. A tavern is a sloppy Joe.
No.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
You're bringing the taverns, you're making taverns.
Right next door in South Dakota.
Huh. Yeah, we just got it. We get a lot wrong over there. I wasn't at all surprised to get out of South Dakota and have someone say Sloppy Joe or what's the Manwich or something, whatever. There's a lot of different names for it.
Name,
It's a meal.
Yeah, but I don't. I very quickly dropped the whole tavern. What are you doing? I'm like, no, it's gone. That happens a lot coming out of South Dakota. You get a lot of those odd things. Somebody just did it wrong, and everybody else followed. The other 200 people in South Dakota said, all right.
Now, does the other use of the word tavern, does anyone, if
it's
someone
a bar. There aren't even pubs in South Dakota. It's just a bar.
You just call it bar.
Just a bar. There's no, you say a pub, and they're like, well, I guess somebody's been to Minneapolis pubs.
As a kid.
Did you go to England or something?
I was very, 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 very pleasantly surprised when I was taught, when they learned me up good, when I was shown how to make sloppy joes. I just couldn't believe something could be so simple. A culinary, gold bar on my plate every time it was sloppy joe night. I was like, oh, thank God, I love sloppy joes.
Yeah, I know. I don't even try and pick them up and eat them anymore. I just throw a bunch of meat on there in the bun and then just grab a fork or something like that.
First time I ever threw up on stage at the drum kit. No, it's first time ever threw up on stage at the drum kit because of I've had a couple of up and down nights over the years.
Got a bad tavern?
I had a bad tavern. I had a bad sloppy joe. My own fault. Made sloppy joes, had a great sloppy joe feast, woke up the next morning and hadn't refrigerated the leftovers, and then later that day thought, well, if I just heat them up again, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
because I was an idiot. And so a bunch of sloppy joes in a pan for 18 hours. Uncovered, uncooled. But I thought just heat it all up again, and if there's germs, if anything, that doesn't work.
Cook them off.
No, it doesn't work. It didn't cook off at all. Ate it immediately. Within 20 minutes, it was like, that was a mistake. and then I had to go play a gig. And I'm on the drum kit, playing a show, local band, probably 9 people in the bar. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But after probably the second song, I was like, hey, hang on a minute. What? Just say something on the mic. Just talk to people. Why? What are you talking? Just talk to the crowd. I got to turn around, just hurl all over the back wall, right where I'm sitting. Like that's not good. So, but I've gotten back on the Sloppy Joe horse many times since. Big fan, have been forever. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ talking text line. Tony, who's on the horn?
Our buddy Dave from St. Paul wants to talk burgers, Tavern Burgers.
Dave from St. Paul. Good morning, brother.
Yep. I'll tell you. Like I say, I was raised in St. Paul, but I live in Andover now.
Okay.
I've called in a couple times before.
Yep.
But anyway, one of my aunts and uncles lived up in St. Cloud. We'd go up and visit them, and they'd have, what we call sloppy joes, but they called them tavern burgers.
Oh, tavern
so I don't know
burgers.
if there was like a bar around there that served them, and because you bought them in a a bar is synonymous with tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they got them at the tavern, so they called them tavern burgers.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, if you go into an American Legion often on the weekends, you'll see they've got the cooker over there, and it's all filled with sloppy joes, barbecue, whatever. It's got all that going on. Any bar in South Dakota, you've got taverns cooking. So that's probably where it came from, because was just the quick, easy meat, and you could make up a whole 50-gallon drum of it and feed everyone, and you didn't have to make individual burgers and slap cheese on them and all that good jazz. It was just good old bar food over there. That's probably where it came from.
Perhaps.
How about this one? In Mississippi, the word carry doesn't mean like, you're carrying a gun. It means you're giving someone a lift. I'll carry you. I'll carry you.
Okay.
I don't want you to carry me. Can you drive me? No,
I like that
I
one.
got you.
I'll carry you.
I'm going to cradle you in my arms.
I don't know much about Mississippi. Spent very little time there. And like if somebody says to you, what's the difference between Minnesota and North Dakota? What's the difference between Minnesota and Wisconsin? The more time you spend in an area, you do pick up on things.
Sure.
You can tell. In the South, to me, Mississippi's like another planet. I grew up in Kentucky. I lived in Tennessee. I lived in Georgia. Mississippi's like a foreign land. I mean, seriously, I've just never been quite comfortable there. I can just tell it's different.
Right.
And it's right next to Alabama, but Alabama, I got it. Mississippi just freaks me out. And I've heard people say like, you carry, and different words, different expressions. And we mentioned Santa's Pub, a double-wide trailer you guys went to in Nashville. We used to play a gig in Jackson, Mississippi that was a double-wide trailer. Same exact thing. Same exact thing in Jackson, Mississippi. The club was called WC Dons. So like
double-wide Don.
Well, like WC Fields, but it was WC Dons, which stood for we couldn't decide on a name.
Oh.
That's what it was.
Funny.
And
y'all like pickles?
And I've never seen anything quite like. We got there on a Saturday afternoon for sound check, and the night before, the crew comes in to clean up from the night before, and they have sliding doors that open up like a whole wall of the trailer, and they just brought out big. They had leaf blowers and a push lawnmower to just blow all the cups and bottles and cans out into the field.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
And then you think, they're clearing all this stuff out, and then they'll go pick it up. No, they just blew it out.
Left her there.
Just a field full of red solo cups and
this
cans
is in Mississippi?
and bottles.
Oh, funny.
Jackson, Mississippi.
A hurricane will come through here and clean all that up before you know it.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
No,
Y'all like Dr. Pepper?
You ain't got to take it to the landfill. This will be a landfill soon enough. We learned a long time ago. Don't go to the landfill. Just make your own.
I think most of what I know about Mississippi is from either Brett Favre or Biloxi Blues. That movie.
That's all you need to know.
That's deep south.
It really is, and I mean the sunsets look different. The angles. I don't know everything about it. I'm always so aware of this is Mississippi, and I am uncomfortable. and I'm from the South, and this place. It's like South on steroids, Mississippi. Like can't run there with you, man. But anyway, if someone asks you in Mississippi, can I carry you? They're just mean, do you need a ride?
Oh,
don't get too carried away with that. See what I did there? carried away.
Yeah.
All right.
The rim shot.
My last one I want to share in Florida. I've never heard this expression either. Jiffy feet. Jiffy feet.
Peanut butter?
If you say, I would think you're dancing. You're hot footing it across.
In a hurry?
No, it just means you have dirty feet because you weren't wearing shoes.
Gnarly.
Jiffy
feet.
Well, I suppose there's a lot of barefoot season down there. It's 365. You get jiffy feet, bare feet, gnarly, gross.
Boy, you got jiffy feet.
I do. Jeez, look at me. How about this? Because we got to take a quick break. Cheese. It's not just for dinner anymore. Is that a slogan? It should be. People are using cheese for all the wrong reasons. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, May the 15th. Tough news here. If you are friends in Wisconsin, cover your ears. This is a story about cheese. It's not what you're going to want to hear.
Pull over.
We're going up to Newfoundland in Canada. A patrol officer with the Royal Constabulary, a constable, was attacked by a very irate male with a block of cheese.
No.
Oh, the cheesemanity. The constable said the situation underlines how, quote, varied and unexpected our officers' experiences on the job can be.
In Newfoundland.
It shows we can never let our guard down.
Oh, come on.
Every day's different.
The officer did not require medical attention.
No.
And also, we don't know what type of cheese was used in the assault. And the fact that this is on the news wire, why? I'm sorry. Why?
Every week, it's the oddity of it because they use cheese and people go. Every week there are stories. We bypass them often. There was one last week. A lady threw a chicken McNugget at her partner, hit him square in the back, and he called the cops.
Yeah.
She got arrested for assault. I'm like, dude, it's a chicken nugget. That's not assault.
I mean, if I guess you could say it's assault if it's a wheel of mozzarella from, if it's like
that
a
big
giant
wheel they roll down the hill
hard
in England.
cheese, the hard
a wheel.
But you got to have a wheel of hard Parmesan or a Pecorino Romano, maybe a hard cheese. If it's like, if he's waving a loaf of Velveeta, it's like, come on, man, that's not hurting anybody.
No, throw a block of cheese at me, please.
Don't listen to him. He's drunk on cheese.
Have you ever attacked anyone with food? Have you ever gone after somebody with food?
No.
I threw a individually wrapped slice of American cheese at somebody.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's stuck.
Were you accused of assault?
I was. I served time.
Did some hard time. What are you in for?
Prison over that.
Cheese. I've used it in lovemaking, but that's about it.
Cheese?
No, just food.
Oh, just food. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
not cheese.
I mean, one man's lovemaking is another person's assault. You never know where that's going to end up.
It's a fine line.
We all have different definitions of these things. Just be careful with your cheese. First of all, don't waste good cheese.
No, what are you doing? Maybe they have an abundance of it in Newfoundland.
If you want to assault somebody with cheese, just stick a big hunk of blue cheese under their bed and just wait for it to turn, and they'll never find it. Or put it in between the mattress and box spring. That's an appropriate assault with cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, then you got yourselves a good story. Georgia State University is in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. For those who are unfamiliar, Georgia State Panthers would be the team name.
Okay.
It's a school that has blown up in the last 15, 20 years. It's you got Georgia Tech University, very famous, the Yellow Jackets, right there in Midtown Atlanta. And then downtown, just a mile or two down the road, Georgia State is now competing to be the third big. You got University of Georgia in Athens, Georgia Tech, and now Georgia State is also a big school, growing like a weed, like a kudzu field in the South. And Georgia State has clearly gotten a little over their skis because they mistakenly emailed 1,500 applicants. Welcome to Georgia State. None of these applicants had actually been accepted.
Oh.
Now, every year around this time, we see videos of high school seniors.
Yeah.
They set themselves up because they log into a portal to see if they've been accepted to the school they want to go to, and then they video it. And of course, if they get in, they share it on Instagram, and if they don't, they delete the video. 1,500 kids got news. You're in at Georgia State, and then the next day, Georgia State was like, "Oh, that email from yesterday, no, sorry. Scratch it. We have to retract that.
Mom, I didn't get into Georgia State.
Wow. They did follow that up with, it doesn't mean it's over. You're still being considered, but we haven't made the decision yet. I have a feeling Georgia State needs to make room for 1,500 kids. Just, you set them up for that. You got to go ahead with it. I mean, that is just brutal.
Yeah, that's a, I mean, I guess, I don't know. If you got into Georgia State, couldn't you get in somewhere else? Who wants to go to college in downtown metro area? Like a huge area like Atlanta. I want some open campus, I want some.
There's an aquarium, a Coca-Cola museum.
Sure.
I mean, come on.
Traffic, congestion, smog.
Boy, you're not kidding. It is the traffic. I don't know. My wife is a Georgia State University.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she went to school at University of Alabama, Birmingham, at the normal college age, 18 to 22. And then in her late 20s, went back and got another degree at Georgia State in art history.
Oh, all right. Well, how's that working out for her?
Because why not? Well, her first degree was in marketing and PR.
Well,
and so for years, she was a PR director at a museum. See, so she combined. She worked at galleries and then the Frisk Center for Visual Arts. She was it all made sense.
All right, that does tie together. So she went back and just made herself more valuable in her industry.
Actually got 2 degrees and used them both somehow.
Wow.
Shockingly, the only person I know that can say that. I was a broadcasting major. I am a now broadcaster, but I didn't get the degree. See, that's the difference. So speaking of Georgia Tech University, the 1996 Summer Olympics took place in Atlanta, Georgia. In that very city.
Right.
And they built the Olympic Village ahead of time. And then after the Olympics, what do you do with all those buildings that, hey, those look like dormitories? They're Georgia Tech dorms now.
Oh, yeah.
The Olympic Village is now dormitories for Georgia Tech University.
Makes sense, yeah.
And if you can study the trends of young kids today, they're not having anywhere near as much sex as the Olympians were in 1996 because kids today just aren't throwing down like they used to, and B, nobody throws down like Olympic athletes.
I mean, think about it. You are just a Greek god on earth, aren't you? I mean, you're at that and you're in the peak. All of the things, the testosterone, the estrogen, it's pumping through your body. Every chemical is peaking. And by the way, you're in a village with many of the same people, elite athletes, of course.
All elite athletes, all who've spent years training, almost all toiling in anonymity for this one moment to get themselves on the map. And it's 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years of training for one event, and then that event's over, and it's like you literally don't have to work out tomorrow, and all those things you wanted to do, go for it. So what happens every year, and this was the case in Atlanta where I lived during the 96 Olympics, the one thing the IOC does is they just provide unlimited condoms across all the Olympic Village.
Right.
People, there were stories about this in Atlanta in 96, it's in vending machines. It's literally like you walk into what is just picture a dormitory, the Olympic Village housing. There's just bowls of condoms everywhere. They're just like, guys, we know you're all going to lose your minds. Please stay safe, be responsible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what they do. And so now the 2024 Olympics in just a few weeks are where? The city of Paris. I mean, if there's any place on earth that you're going to put a bunch of Olympians and just go, oh my God, it's just going to be a nonstop.
It should be its own sport.
It should be its own sport. But au contraire, as our French friends might say, there'll be no making of the love in the city of love.
Oh, really? How are they going to stop that?
I remember the Olympic Village was like a monastery. Because for the Olympic villages, they have installed what they're calling anti-sex beds. Anti-sex beds.
They strap them in at night?
Materials and small size aimed to deter athletes from getting their freak on post-competition.
How?
Twin-size beds, but on the smaller side of twin-size beds. First of all, a lot of athletes, yes, a lot of them are very small, but a lot of them are very large. I don't know why you're forcing people into twin-size beds. Sustainability is here's the deal. The mattresses and cardboard frames are 100% recyclable. They're looking for sustainability. What you're not getting is a lot of strength, if you will. Yeah. You're not getting comfort. You're not getting... Basically... If you went to what these look like are beds that IKEA rejected.
Like a cot.
So the idea here is you can't have sex in the bed.
The idea is you will not be able to comfortably have sex in the bed.
All right,
they're forgetting the fact that young people in their teens and 20s, comfort's the least of your concerns.
I don't think I had sex in a bed for like the first 5 years I was having sex.
Fancy.
If you can have sex in the bucket seat of a Pontiac Le Mans, you can figure it out at the Olympics.
You can figure it out.
Well, if they can't have sex in these beds, I guess that solves the problem. You idiots.
Olympic athletes for a few generations now, they don't come out of the Olympic experience telling stories, but you give them a few years, and then they all look back and go, "Oh yeah, it was nuts."
And they're athletes, so they're liber.
Check this out.
Right, they can do it in a closet.
There's a guy named Matthew Syed. He was a table tennis player. He's a ping pong player. Okay, this is not the decathlon. Yeah. This is not. He's not on the dream team. He's not swimming.
What he can do
Mark
with that wrist.
He is a table tennis player. And he told in an interview with the Times of London during the 92 games in Barcelona, he said, "I was laid more often in those 2.5 weeks than in the rest of my life combined." Again,
even the table tennis
ping
guys.
Pong.
Yeah, just they'll take anybody. Well, there's someone for everyone in the Olympic Village, I guess. Yeah, it's. I love the fact that they're going to try anti-sex beds.
Yeah, the ultimate thing from this is like good luck having that work. It really doesn't mean a thing.
Just keep the condoms coming. Just keep them safe.
I mean, we could do a lot worse. These people have been working hard.
Why can't they have sex in the Olympic Village?
Because women weaken legs.
Women weaken legs.
Boy, you always heard that, didn't you?
Yeah, boy, you sure did.
Mick.
Not so much.
Oh, well. So the Summer Olympics in Paris, is anybody even aware that that's right around the corner? I keep forgetting about it.
I mean, I have to Google it every time. When is it? July?
Sometime. It could be. I don't know.
It's
summer. It's summer.
Summer.
No, I think it's June. I think it's right after like the French Open tennis
every
thing
time
is happening. I'm always amazed when giant cities take on the Olympics. I mean, on one hand, it makes sense because the Olympics is like, you're just inviting complete cacophony for a few weeks, for a few months of buildup. Right. But the bigger the city, I guess, the more they feel like you can absorb it. And it's not that big a deal. Traditionally, cities get deserted. Like the locals flee, for all the stories of, I'm going to rent my house for $90,000 a week. It's like, that doesn't really pan out too much. I can speak from experience in Atlanta. It was a ghost town. I mean, for 2 weeks, in-town living was the best it ever was.
Yeah.
Everybody took their vacation during the Olympics. I mean, it was nuts. It was shocking.
But I mean, it must have been many people attended from around the world.
Yeah, but they're in hotels downtown, but they're not in the neighborhood.
Just checking out.
Just in town, like going to the neighborhood hardware store. No one would be in there. You go to your local restaurant, no one's in there.
Family, friends in Sturgis, South Dakota, the big bike rally. 500,000 bikers descending upon Sturgis and more over the Black Hills.
Yeah,
and they've lived out there my entire life. That I've known this couple, so they've never been to a Sturgis rally. They're like, no, that's when we take our vacation.
Yeah,
when the bikes come to town, we head out of town. Now they do rent out their house and make a pretty penny on that.
The one thing that was going on in living in a city that was preparing for the Olympics for 6 years, it was just everywhere. You couldn't escape it. And the IOC is terrible. They were literally, they closed down. If you had a business with the word Olympic in it, they closed you down. There was a Greek diner that's been there for 50 years called the Olympic Diner. The IOC came in and was like, no, it's trademark. You have to change the name of your
get out of here.
Yeah.
Take your visa and skedaddle.
They have the lawyers. They have everything. It was kind of nuts.
They think they are the NFL.
The city's going crazy, right, for the Olympics. This is the thing I will never. This is when someone's like, oh, did you go to the Olympics? I walked around downtown once. Like, I just didn't get involved. But the one thing you couldn't avoid, downtown Atlanta, you have two giant interstates, 75, 85. They join together. It's called the connector. And that's when it goes from like 8 lanes to 16 lanes, and it's just bumper to bumper. It's a dystopian hellscape is what it is every day.
Right now, there are people sitting out there on 35E or 694 going, 8 lanes?
Yeah.
16 lanes?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Oh.
Not when they're all full. It just seems worse.
Right.
But check this out. 1,000 days before the opening ceremonies, on one of the overpasses, they put up a countdown clock. that counted down 1,000 days,
geez.
like 3 years out.
Getting out in front
So
of
it was like days till the opening, and every day you'd go by, and it was a big digital clock, and it would tick down one more day. And so I was traveling a lot during that period of time. So I'd be in town, I'd be on my way to the airport, and I'd go under it, and I'd go 904 days to the Olympics. Wow. And the next time I'd see it, I'd be like 862 days. Wow. I'm in and out of town. I'd only see it if I was going to the airport.
Yeah.
And then one day it hit me. There are people driving to work every single day.
Every day.
Every day they have to see that clock. And it's a reminder on a daily basis of, well, it could be, oh my God, my life is getting so much. Every day is better. I got a promotion. I got a raise. I got this. I'm seeing a new girl. Or it's the exact opposite. I was picturing all the people who are just going to this job they hate, leaving a bad situation, whatever. It's like this countdown. And after 1,000 days going, my life is no different, no better. I just saw that it was like a Twilight Zone episode in real time. And I would mention that to a few different people, and everybody I said, they'd be like, man, I thought the same. That clock freaks me out. Like just seeing your life dwindle away one day at a time.
One day at a time.
It was just this weird, bizarre, and then the Olympics happen, and then a bomb goes off, and then it was just like everyone, when that thing was over, everyone was like, oh, thank God, just get out of here.
Right. And Richard Jewell did that, right?
He very much did not.
No.
Didn't stop everybody from assuming he had, certainly. That's the word. That poor guy, the real life Paul Blart cop.
He got railroaded in that.
He got accused of doing it because people were like, he took his job a little too seriously, if you ask me. He seemed to be the kind of guy that was always on the lookout for bad stuff. I think he must have planted it. It was like, no, he actually took his job really seriously.
Like zero
poor
evidence.
Guy.
And then, I think it was Clint Eastwood made a movie about it just not that long ago, long after we quit caring.
Yeah, way after we quit caring.
Right. So,
I was in my house, in Midtown Atlanta, a couple miles away from where that bomb went off. Late at night, I'm watching like a replay of volleyball. Just can't sleep, and just heard that sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, in my house, and I thought, what in the
sound like?
It was just that concussive, and a couple of ripples.
Weren't you in Nashville when that one went off? Was there one in Nashville?
Oh, Christmas Day, a couple of years ago.
The AT&T bomb or whatever?
I didn't hear that go off, but I lost my cell service for 3 days.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked.
Man.
So I heard the Olympic bomb go off, and I jumped out. And the dog looked up. We were both like, huh? What was that? And we walked out in the backyard, and my neighbor walked out in his backyard, and we're looking at each other, and I go, what was that? And I remember saying, like, it sounded like a couple of, like, a freight train just ran into another freight train. So it was just, I don't know, it's like a huge explosion or a crash. And at no point am I thinking, oh, the Olympics. I just thought we're near the highway, a truck hit a truck or something.
One of those transponders.
And we were both going, yeah, this is really weird. And then we started hearing sirens, and then more and more. And all of a sudden, it's like every siren in Georgia. And then he finally looked at me and goes, oh, my God, the Olympics. And we both just ran into the house. And they had already gone to, like, the overhead, news copter, and it was downtown. And, I mean, it was one of those... one woman died she had a heart attack in the rush.
That's right.
I believe that was it. But, when you first see that, you're thinking, oh, my God, this is going to be like Oklahoma City again.
Carnage.
It was just a few years after that, a year after the Oklahoma City bombing. And I was just going through all that. And then just one of the weirdest stories ever. The Richard Jewell thing, the guy they actually finally caught who did it. Eric Rudolph, was that his name? No. Hiding up in the mountains. It was something. Yeah, what
something
a wild
familiar.
thing.
I'd have to Google it, to get some of the details. But.
Yeah, that was really something. Jack Mack and the Heart Attack was the band on stage when that bomb went off.
Oh, that's...
I believe
ironic.
something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, Olympic athletes like to have sex. There,
right.
There's your button.
Full circle.
I knew
There's
we'd
your
bring
climax.
it back around. All right, as long as we're looking back. On this day in 1912, Ty Cobb, very, very famous, legendary baseball player, a man who, upon his retirement, led the Major League Baseball all-time hits, runs, stolen bases, and batting average. I mean, he's one of to this day, still considered one of the 10 greatest baseball baseball players ever. He was known for a lot of other things, too, like on this day in 1912, when he was heckled by a fan, decided he had enough, jumped into the stands, and beat the man senseless with his bare hands. The man he beat, his name was Claude Luker. He was a printer who'd had an accident at work, lost one hand and 3 fingers on another hand, and Ty Cobb just went after him. And people were trying to stop the fight, saying, Ty, he doesn't have hands. And he yelled back, I don't care if he doesn't have feet. As he just pounded the guy into oblivion.
He's got a big mouth, doesn't he?
He's got a big mouth. It works, and we're going to shut that up once and for all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's always good to remind people, professional athletes, you want to go and yell at them, just be like 30 rows back. Just do it so the people around you laugh.
Right.
Don't let them hear it.
Right.
They're not like us.
No.
They're professional athletes.
You never know which one's going to snap and come into the stands.
Yeah, and when they do, if the governor blows off that engine, they're not stopping. And you can't stop them.
Nope.
They're hardwired in a way that we cannot understand. They work out for fun. And because they have to.
Yeah.
Don't do that. This day in 1991, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip went to Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland to take in a Baltimore Orioles game. They went along with President George H.W. Bush and his wife Barbara. It was a big event. The Queen at a baseball game.
Yeah.
First time ever.
She sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game, didn't she?
She did. She sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game. She threw out the first pitch. No, wait, she didn't do any of that. She just showed up a few innings in. She did not get a hot dog and a natty bow, a National Bohemian, the beer of Baltimore. No, she had crab cakes and smoked turkey because she's the Queen of England.
She probably gets that at home, doesn't she?
A few of the things that members of the staff, anybody who might have been in her presence, had to learn the protocol of how you deal with the Queen. You can only shake her hand if she puts her hand out first. You can only speak to her if she speaks to you first. Hey, by the way, there was this is the Queen of England. This is also Baltimore, Maryland. If I see the Queen walking down, I'm going to say, hey, Liz, Libby,
Queen.
Liddy, Lilibet.
Love your band.
How's the corgis? What is this? You may either curtsy or nod to her, depending on your sex. She's someone else's queen.
Right.
I've just never. I like the show The Crown because I'm like, those aren't real people. And then when you go, those are actually the real people, I'm like, I got no time for royalty. No. Just say, by the way, you also must never turn your back on the Queen. Or now the King, King Charles.
Well, if you can't look at him and you can't turn your back, good God,
you'll
with
be
the
beheaded.
Rules. Yeah,
freeze. Just freeze.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.